Arcade Studio Podcast with Gautier Pellegrin.
Hello.
Pellegrin.
Pellegrin.
Pellegrin. He's first of all French.
Very French.
Look at that. Look at your waveform.
Are you enjoying the waveform? It's too much.
Is your waveform bigger than...
That's pretty much what like my perception of your waveform is. Like, when I hear you talk.
Shall we start that again?
He is the older brother. Wait, where's my waveform?
Your waveform's right on the bottom.
So I'm very soft spoken. Yeah. I am pretty whispery.
We could maybe pull you up a little bit. You could be like there.
Okay. How am I doing?
You're doing fine.
This is great.
Welcome. So Gautier is a photographer.
Yes.
He's my competition.
And, literally.
Yeah. But we've gotten to know each other, and he's not such a bad guy, so we were happy to have you on.
Very much appreciated.
Welcome, dude.
No, I just want to make this sure I'm not your competition. I look up to you. I'm more like
there's
one of your assistants that never made it. That's what I'm like.
You're his assistant?
No. No, because they all made it.
No, what you doing?
I do all right.
You're doing all right.
I do all right. Yeah,
we're doing okay. We're surviving in this.
We're making it, and it's a rough marketplace, but you can make a living and be okay, I guess.
Yeah, and have some fun with it.
And have some fun.
Yeah.
And make more money than you thought you would make doing whatever you're doing before. So
yeah, it's perfect. That's more or less what you would like when you start thinking about getting into some sort of like creative field, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Make more money than you think you're going to make.
But I don't know about you guys, but nobody ever expected, like they're like, okay, you're just going to, you're going to be broke for your whole life. Yeah. And they're like, oh, wait, you're doing okay. You're all right.
Yeah. And the whole family is surprised. every Christmas, they're like, I'm so proud of you guys. You guys are doing really well there.
How did you do it?
Nobody ever expected that.
It's like that.
It is. It's exactly like that. It's like, thank you very much. I'm glad to know that you guys believed in us.
Thank you.
And it's good to be proud of yourself that way.
But do you come from like an artistic family?
Not at all. No. My father's in finance, and my mother is a stay-at-home mom who had this thing where, like, in her mind, artists, she loves art. She's one of these like, oh, art's so amazing, but doesn't know anything really about art. And artists were these weird aliens. So she would actually like sit us down as kids and be like, I'm sorry, I hope she never hears this. I'm sorry I never had any artistic children. And she would like say this to our face, and so we were never encouraged to do anything artistic at all, which is I guess the reason it took me so long to get into anything artistic. I started shooting when I was 27, 28.
Oh, right. And before that, what were you doing?
I worked in the music industry, but more on the marketing and office side of stuff. And from age 18 to 27, I was nonstop in the music industry and around, either interning or eventually getting a job for Universal.
Oh, what?
In Paris, and then a Universal managed label in New York.
Sick.
And that was a pretty intense time. Long story short, got fired from that. But I actually hated my job. I really did. But I was the official label manager for a record label in New York who was releasing French records for the US market.
Okay, cool.
Via Universal Records in the US.
Fantastic.
So like you went straight into like the big giant pretty much.
Yeah, so this is, I started interning for like tiny little record labels and eventually got into, for some reason, Universal Jazz, which was a big lesson in nerdism and really nice people. And that got me, I was like, oh, it's not so bad being with the big corporate monsters, and you get a lot of free CDs, so I was all about that.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
No, they make it nice for you when you're inside the monster.
Yeah, exactly. You can smoke in the office.
Oh, fantastic.
All day long.
Very French.
So French. It's so Paris.
It's very German now.
And then you ended up in Milan, of all places.
Yeah, that was a bit of a... So I got fired from my New York job. It's a long story short. A lot of stuff happened there in 4 years. But so I lost my job. I was also married to a crazy designer girl who we had a line together also. We tried, so we lost a lot of money on that. And then I ended up just being a waiter when the crisis hit in 2008.
Yeah.
Everybody got fired. This whole building in West Soho was an advertisement agency, and the floors just emptied out. You could see people walking out with their boxes in 2008, right? And they get 2 weeks and nothing else. Like, it was just really dramatic. The crisis hit really hard. I had a French contract, so it took them longer to fire me out, but I eventually did get fired. Had to figure out my way around being jobless in the US. Ended up waiting tables in French restaurants a lot.
Madness.
For about a year. Eventually got another really bad job, but with nice people. And one day I just woke up and I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Need to get my act together. I'm going to go back to school. And at that point, this is kind of lame, but my parents lived here.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm coming to Milan.
But that's the same reason that I came here at the end of the day.
Because your parents lived here?
Yeah, my mom was here and he was here. So I was like...
So why did they come here and leave you in...
I finished...
We tried, but he kept finding his way back.
Like, let's get rid of him now.
I tried very hard. No, I finished school. I finished university in South Africa. And then and he had finished high school like 2 years before.
Okay.
So my mom was like, she was over South Africa and wanted to come back to Milan and civilization or some semblance of civilization.
Yeah.
And also, you know, there's a really good healthcare system here and all that kind of stuff. So she's like, I'm getting older. You know, it's better to be taken care of in your old age. You know, there's
family as well.
But yeah, families here.
They moved back.
Yeah, because my mom's Italian.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And my dad is Italian as well. So they moved back. She moved back in 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I stayed another year in South Africa, finished off the university, and then I was supposed to stay there. Hey?
Picked up the scent and found us.
Yeah, exactly.
You tried to hide so bad.
We were like rolling in dirt and stuff.
Yeah, no, they were walking in rivers. It was tough.
You can tell this one grew up in the wild. Running in dirt, hiding our scent from.
Yeah, that's exactly what I had for like the first 2 years of life in Milan. What? You're from Africa? Like, why are you white,
monkeys
man?
all around? Like,
yeah,
what the fuck,
like literally.
I know.
Like, did you have electricity? Like, what's up?
Have cars
This is
down
TV.
there.
This is called TV.
Yeah, like, whoa.
Oh, we have that.
Amazing.
They speak really slow.
You guys read, don't you? Yeah.
But I grew up in Asia, and so I got a lot of those questions when we eventually moved. I mean, we were sent back to France because my parents kept living abroad for a long time. And so you get a lot of those. Like, you guys have Nike over there?
We make it.
Yeah, that's where I was living in the factory, basically. But
my finger shirt, like, was making my own Nikes and stuff.
Those are the best ones. Yeah. Keep them forever. Keep them forever.
Yeah, no, it's crazy that whole thing that people can't like imagine, and I don't understand why, because it's so easy like nowadays to actually figure out that, you know, there are like all kind of people all over the world and technology is everywhere pretty much. If you have a bit of money, I mean, you can have satellite TV in Antarctica if you want.
True that.
You know, whatever, it doesn't matter. So either you're like dirt poor and then, okay, maybe you are living like under a bridge or whatever. But, you know, if you're back in Europe, you're probably not.
But it says a lot about our and this kind of comes into our jobs. It says a lot about our love for like these pre-made cliche images of what reality is. So you want to see an image of Thailand, you'll never see the real life of Thai people living there. You'll see like these temples and this monk, and you feel like, oh, everything is just like that. And that's not just a massive middle class. It's very modern in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And that's what we do for a living. We're creating these other type of lives and like just like framing out everything else from that. And that's
and constantly trying to like make it look super, you know, pretty or like really, really grotty.
Yeah.
It's like one of the two. It's like never in the middle.
Whereas the reality of life is just that really boring middle part.
Nobody wants to see that anyway.
True that.
Because you see it every day. That's why I think we're pretty much useless.
I kind of agree with that. I get angry at myself. I'm always trying to make these pretty things. Like, this is just not where I live. Visually, my world is so boring. It's just these ugly ass Milan buildings. But you're not. You're framing everything else, making. I do exclusively almost like pure nature or just pure cement, like nothing in the middle. And it's the exact opposite of anything.
Yeah. I try to incorporate Milan a lot in my pictures.
Like you put like cars and old people and stuff.
Yeah. And the buildings. I really like these shitty buildings in the city.
But so do you have a personal relationship to these buildings? You actually like them?
I like them.
That's the thing.
I like those 70s really crappy buildings.
And so you put them in your pictures.
I put them in my pictures.
I hate those buildings so much.
You should go to the Hotel Gallia.
I used to hate them.
Not the Gallia. What's the... Galileo.
Wait, I know that hotel.
It's in Sambabila.
Yeah,
apparently it's like if you look on like the hashtag Hotel Gallia, it's gonna not Galileo.
Yeah.
Like you'll see these really crazy photos. Like it's all like super 70s with the old phones on the wall. Like all I think they used to be maybe white, now they're like
thanks
brown.
for giving away like a location to all 160 subscribers.
Every single one of photographers.
If I see one picture of you
In the Hotel Galileo, you better not go, Fabrizio.
No, I mean it's called Arcade or something.
Galileo.
It costs about $50 to shoot there.
Yeah, no, it's like, no, but there are loads of that kind of thing. If you like that kind of just bad.
But this brings me to another one of my recent pet peeves is there's this love of Italian cool magazines, of these fashion stories that have this nostalgia about the Italian summer and how the whole Italian summer experience is basically stuck in the 80s.
Yeah.
And all these photographers who grew up in that stuff love shooting these like oiled up people on the beach, all these like cheesy beaches. And I don't relate to that.
No,
I don't like that. I think it's terrible.
But it's also a little bit that, that old Testino pictures from like Rio de Janeiro.
It has that vibe.
It has that vibe as well. So I think they can base it on that. It's like, it's that kind of image. It's historic. It's Newton. It's Testino. It's that kind of stuff. And Martin Parr. A little bit of that kind of stuff. Let's all go and shoot people on the beach, and it's like hot dog stands. The guy with the ice cream cone.
Wait, did people in South Africa go to the beach a lot? Yeah, you were. Yeah,
the white people.
It was surfing, just the white people, right?
No, they all do now. Yeah.
They all do now
because before they couldn't. The black people weren't allowed to go to
there was
beaches.
that thing.
But now everybody can go to all the beaches. It's very nice.
Okay.
It's much better.
Nice save.
I'm like, this just got a little bit cringy.
Gonna get dark.
That was weird.
I like to walk on the edge.
Yeah, you live a dangerous life.
I think it's funny.
But it's the truth, which is also why South African culture is very interesting to me, because I feel you guys were so isolated for so long that you're always looking in. And I love that. It's the only African country where people listen to Deep House.
Yeah,
you meet all these black South Africans, they're like, fuck hip hop, I want to listen to Deep House. And I'm like, you're not really black, are you? Like, yes, I am. I'm more black than you are, but clearly. And I love it. Makes it so special and so unique,
they developed a lot of things, just a whole...
Like Kwaito movie.
Everything.
Kwaito was my way in. Yeah. As the music of like the brothels, and it's like so.
Yeah, it's like the machines. The illegal like speakeasies kind of thing.
Yeah. It's where people would. They were like just like illegal pubs basically with no license in the townships.
Where they drank the like motor oil thing.
Yeah, or I mean, you get black label beer.
Black
is
label
the thing
beer
that you would drink there, or what's it called? It's like the thing that the Maasai drink, the
Ijuba.
Ijuba. It's fermented milk.
Okay.
And it's like it becomes a beer, and the Maasai drink it with the cow's blood in it. But
you make it sound so
amazing.
exotic. It's beer. It's
fermented milk.
Milk beer with cow blood in it.
Blood beer.
Milk blood beer.
They put a little arrow. They nick the neck of a cow in Kenya, and it just gushes
because
out
the cow has to be from Kenya.
No. If the Kenyans do it this way,
okay,
that's how they do it, and they probably have Kenyan cows in Kenya. I'm assuming.
That makes sense.
I'm assuming, right? So,
can the South African cow live in Kenya?
It's a very contemporary discussion.
But you know what? I think it'll take a while to get there, and people are
that's
leaving.
Like a serious answer to my question.
Yeah, and there's lions and stuff in the way.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, it depends. If you take the highway, you're probably
okay.
You're fine.
No lions on the highway.
Lions on the highway. They will get hit by cars.
That was my experience at the Kruger Park, where we drove. So we were trying to get to Mozambique with my friend. Rented a car in Joburg, drove all the way through the desert at night. I call it the desert. It's not, but got to the border at 4 a.m. and waited for the border to open like everybody told us to do. And when we got there, the guy's like, you can't come in here with a rented car, you idiots. And we didn't even think about trying to bribe them because we're just nice guys. Yeah. And everybody afterwards was like, you just should have given them a bit of money. Exactly. Yeah. And so we just drove back and entered Kruger Park with our own little car and drove around Kruger Park stoned as possible, like really stoned. Did a loop in Kruger Park on our own. I eventually got out of the car to piss against a tree on my own.
In the Kruger. Okay.
And one of those Jeeps passes by and stops there, points at me and goes like, and here we have an example of a fucking idiot. I was just like pissing against a tree during the Kruger. It was a great experience.
You see that woman that got like taken out by a tiger in Asia because she got out of the car and she like got taken away.
Was it the one that she was arguing with her husband?
I think so.
there's a video. They're arguing. She gets out the car, slams it.
No
She's
way.
like in the tiger park. Tiger jacks her. Bam.
And she's just, she never made it.
The husband obviously
Didn't need to divorce.
He was just like,
He was like, well, I was right anyways.
Yeah.
It was a bad
I
argument.
told you, don't get out the car. I do whatever. Why'd you make it black?
What?
You made it black.
Oh, you made it.
That was just like a sassy woman.
Nah, Andrea doesn't seem to think that.
Son, up to you guys. Was Rene being a bit racist?
Oh, yeah,
there?
people commenting on this stuff.
Not really, no.
Is that racist? Or you're just like making a
A
like
person who just got killed black in 2019? Yeah, it's racist.
Just got killed. Well, she didn't get killed yet.
He's bullying you. Don't get into. Don't play his character.
No.
You can't do
Don't play
anything.
into.
Just don't play into.
He's trying to like date me. He's trying to use a rusty hook and like.
And then he's gonna invite you to talk about it in his podcast. That's
Yeah.
what he's gonna do.
This is like all the trick to get you like.
To get you feeling
All wired
comfortable.
up. Oh,
trick
get all wired up.
anything. We want all of a sudden you're like being all like.
No.
Yeah, so what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
France should like reinvade the Congo.
Oh man, what if I did say that? That would be really
That'd be
bad.
hilarious.
The other day on set, this girl, a Michael Jackson track came on, and this girl had me take it down.
Yeah.
She's like, you can't listen to that anymore.
No.
I'm not okay with that.
No, me neither.
And what's the other guy? What's his name? I Believe I Can Fly.
Oh, R. Kelly.
I mean,
R.
he has some pretty decent
Piss on my fans, Kelly.
Yeah, exactly. Art can piss in your face, Kelly.
believe I
We
can
were
fly.
talking about this the other day. Is like if you think about all the artists in the 70s,
They're all a bunch of perverts.
and what was it? The singer from Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, what did he do?
What's his name?
I don't know.
Anyway, that guy.
The guy who stole all the music from another like
But
shitty
apart from
band.
that, he stole all the music from like all the
And
music.
everyone's fine with that.
He would steal from blues bands, probably.
No, there was this another band that would tour with him, and they had like really cool music
No way.
and
Stairway to
riffs
Heaven.
and things, and he stole like a couple of them, like of the bigger hits.
No,
but
more than a couple. There's
but
like
he
5
would
or 6.
you know, when the videos of him when he's dancing on stage, he always had on the shirt of the chick he shagged the night before.
No.
That's why they're all too small.
That's such a classy move.
It's
So
like,
small is also like an age thing, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Because they were all under.
I
under a
wouldn't go
certain
that
age.
far. That's
He was just a pretty big guy.
yeah. He's just generally guys are
Talking
bigger
about
than-
size. Talking about size.
yeah.
Rockstar life.
It's amazing, but those guys are all doing like crazy things.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
groupies are just like
Basically, are you saying they're asking? For
no,
it?
they're not asking for it.
Ooh, I see what you did there.
They're all being raped because it's a power game, isn't it? Nowadays, it's all about power. So you can give consent to somebody who has a lot more power than you.
I just saw an ugly glare in his eyes.
Like words
He's
together.
been waiting to do this since episode 1.
You can give consent to somebody, but if that person is more powerful than you,
Is it really consent? Which brings
is it
us
really
to Louis
consent? So that
C.K.
brings us to Louis C.K.,
Yeah,
which is what
he
happened.
asked
Exactly
for
what
it.
happened there. So
Then the only way you could know that is
you can own if you have any sort of power, you can only shag people that have the same or more power than you. So that at least you're the one getting raped.
all right.
Okay.
So don't fuck your interns.
No, don't fuck your
Just
interns. Never fuck
we learned
your
that from Bill
interns.
Clinton.
Don't. Yeah.
Well, she said she would do it again, did she? No, she's
Yeah, but, but she doesn't
It's
decide.
like, I liked
The
him. He never
marketplace
called me
decides.
back.
Why is she black?
Black boy.
See what I mean? It's so easy. It's so easy.
Well, that was a fast turnaround. God damn it, you guys are good.
No, we worked that out before you got here.
like,
Like,
let's just
We've been running down.
It's the famous Olivo one too. I get it.
We look like we're against each other, but we're actually working in perfect
It's like
symbiosis.
good cop, worst cop routine.
bad, like dumb cop, smart cop.
Yeah.
That's a Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I'll let you decide.
Was that a Brooklyn Nine-Nine
You watch
reference?
it?
I would never admit to it on the podcast. But
What do you mean? It's like one of the best shows like in this decade.
As soon as it comes out, the new series, I'm like,
Like apart from him, you're the first person I know that like
that
actually
watches it.
Yeah.
But I do hide to watch it though.
Yeah.
I feel like anybody I've tried to make it watch it is like, this is stupid.
People
There's
don't
some
get it.
pretty good jokes in there.
it's so funny.
like live
But
in New
that's the
York,
thing.
though.
Like, yeah,
True
we've got a different sense of humor. I feel to
Like an actual sense of humor.
In general, yeah, we have a sense of humor. Italians don't get it.
Jokes.
Just jokes, just generally. Yeah.
But I don't want. So this is one of the things I was worried about coming here. I'm like, I'm just going to be dissing on Italians. For
We can
all
do
this.
that. I
No,
love
but
it.
that's not.
I love it.
This is
like on the podcast. I thought
yeah.
like in
I'll just be
Milan.
like,
We can do a little bit. I mean, we can say that they have a very basic sense of humor. They like,
I like how it became gay.
cock and ball jokes and that kind of stuff. Fart jokes. So they enjoy that.
Did you guys have a hard time being in Italy and being non-Italians?
Yeah. I'm bad, like I'm having a tough time.
You're still
It's
making me laugh.
Is it the beer?
It's like
tough time. No, we didn't.
What was the question?
Tough time coming to Italy.
No, like, or being here as a foreigner.
Not really.
Because we're
already
Italian. On the cusp, so we're Italian. We speak the language. We look.
You just had a little bit of an accent when you said that.
We speak the language. Hey. And so it wasn't too much of a struggle. And then we have family here, so we just basically the basic group of friends was sort of just like we were just introduced to like 20 million people. And it's
just
like,
the minute
which
you
click with, and it's like friends.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very simple.
All right, that's
which is also bad in a way because you just present it to a lot of people and you just become lazy because I know loads of people. I don't have to meet new people.
I mean, that's how they do it here.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
I feel it's hard to
it's really tough
to meet new people, especially. So it was good coming from New York. People were actually really into it. Like, he's French. He came from New York. He must be fantastic. And a lot of doors just opened wide just because of that, which were not deserved at all. So that helped a lot. But but like I feel after a while it gets very like Italian centric. It's cliquey. It's very cliquey.
Yeah.
And then people.
Yeah, but I find that everywhere at the end of the day.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe the cliques are a little bit bigger. Maybe if you go to London or if you go maybe I don't know what Paris is like. I haven't spent enough time.
Paris is worse.
Yeah, so
it's worse, but there's enough foreigners that the foreigners are fun. That's who you want to be hanging out with. You know, all those people who've lived around and moved around.
We come here, steal our friends.
You take our jobs. That's exactly what I'm planning on doing.
That's exactly
what I did. Yeah, man. And I had to.
There's also different work ethic from people that come from outside. At least when you were here, you moved here 2007. 2000.
Yeah, no, I got here in 2009.
Okay, yeah. I remember like more recent period because you were hanging out with Vanessa and Rory, maybe.
Yeah, that's how we met. Of course.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when I sort of started hearing your name and whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. Another foreigner.
He's gonna try and steal my job.
My shine.
Yeah.
Break his legs.
It's like people just generally, and Vanessa also is another one. Rory Rice. I mean, he came and just killed.
He killed it so bad, but he's also extremely good at his job.
Yeah, but he's a hard worker. Yeah, he just like grinds the whole time. It's like, you want to do something? Yes, let's do it. And never heard no. The only no you get is if he was already busy on something else.
Do that.
So like, let's do it. Let's just shoot. He's a really good hairstylist.
Rory Rice.
Rory Rice.
I met him.
Yeah, he was at my wedding as well. Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm. And now he's in Australia doing really well, apparently.
Yeah, of course. And he went back with a portfolio of
crazy portfolio.
Amazing stuff shot in Milan, and he gets like cha-ching.
There's this one sentence he would say a lot on set, and I keep thinking, I was like, if you fail to prepare to fail. I was like, I like that. That's a good one.
It's awesome.
My mom said that to
he
me.
was always, he is just organized and he knows his shit. And,
and you have to be a little bit, this is an industry we are in where you have to be a little bit douchey in a way where you have to be like, I don't work with you. I have this bad thing where I work with people I actually enjoy, so my career is going nowhere.
Yeah, of course.
But I have a good time. And you need to have that side of you that's like, I want to work with the best people in town, and I just want to do that to get places. And Rory has that, and is still a wonderful human being.
Yeah, but he was also, people would look for him.
Yeah, they would seek him out because he's that good.
So he didn't even have to like look and suck up to these people. He would just like get a call at one day. It's like, okay, I'm working with these ones,
and then do a great job and kill it.
And just like that was it. And
that's true.
So he just went from strength to strength. Really, I feel that it's easier for hair and makeup because they're in such demand. Like good hair.
Hair is in demand.
Especially hair.
Hair is crazy.
Yeah. Like really difficult.
It's surprisingly difficult.
Really?
So you have no idea how many people can just fuck that hair up for you, man. And they ruined the whole shoot. The whole thing is worthless because of this crappy hair.
Yeah.
I had to figure that out. The more I did video shoots, especially. Like I never done I don't really do too many photo shoots, but I mean video shoots you really understand. Like in the beginning it was like, who gives a fuck about styling? Exactly. Who gives a fuck about we'll just mess it up or whatever. And then you really see the difference. Like when someone's good at a good stylist, it's like, okay, I just need like a little iPhone and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. The picture gets itself once the look is there, once everything works. The problem is if you started not paying attention to that, then the good stylists don't want to work with you. They're like, well, I can take a picture.
Yeah, but then also like they look at that a lot and they judge photographers on that. But at the same time, most of the time it's a stylist making those decisions. You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's like, how many times do you get into a set and it's like, this is the hair I want and this is what you're doing. And it's like,
that's true. Do you have strong opinions about hair and makeup?
Not really.
Yeah, because you're a straight guy. And
I mean, I know what I don't want.
Okay,
I know that. And I tend to leave that up to the hair and makeup guys and the stylist, and then we'll talk about it and then decide on something. But I'm not one of those guys that I like really couldn't be bothered as long as it looks cool.
It's like as you can like
make it look amazing. I don't want to have, you know, all the mistakes that you make at the beginning is like people are all working for free, so you want to give them some space. So like at the halfway through the shoot, go do whatever you want. Mix it up. And exactly. So like the first 3 pictures are like amazing, and then all of a sudden this guy gets creative, and it's like you got a punk, you know, with like all looks weird. You've lost 4 hours, and it's like you can't use the pictures together because they don't match. Yeah. So you learn that really quickly.
And it's a big ego thing also, because if you let the hairdresser do everything, then the whole shoot becomes about the hair, and then you have this hair story you never asked for in the first place
all the time. Yeah. So that there's just a balance. But I got bounced from a couple of interviews, you know, when I was at magazines with my portfolio, and the fashion editor was like, "I don't like the hair in this picture."
And you're like, that's your fault.
But hang on a second. Do you like the picture? Because I'm going to be working with you, and you
are going to be deciding the hair.
Deciding the hair, and that's, you know,
the editor decides that, right?
Yeah, just generally, if you're working for a fashion magazine like Joy or Grazie or something like that, they have a lot more say, because then it gets back to the head editor and everything, and then you know, it's their responsibility of how the picture is going to sort of look. So you can have the input, but the line of the magazine is brought to you by these people.
Yeah, you don't really have a choice. You have to shoot it.
I was like, well, if I work for you, you're going to be bringing the fashion, and you're going to be bringing the hair and the makeup, and then I'm going to be bringing this amazing crop and this light and all this kind of stuff and whatever. And she was like, yeah, but you know, it sort of means that you don't really like pay attention to this kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's right.
I can like tell that from a photo though. Like, I mean, like, if you work in the business, if you
chose it and you put it in your portfolio, it means that you liked it. And if you liked it with shitty hair, then obviously you don't know what good hair is.
That means you're a bad person and I can't work with you.
Yeah.
Put that hair in your portfolio?
No, I can't. I just
go away.
Can't do
like that hair.
So you got to look at that, and you got to understand that it's bad hair. I liked it.
But it's a disappointment. Like it is our job to kind of art direct the whole thing, but having these opinions on hair and makeup is just not something that would come naturally. So I feel like I always have to work on that more.
Learn that.
Learn it, and maybe, you know, date people who do that stuff.
Yeah, you try that. Right?
And then you get to learn a bit more about it. Still don't get anything about it though.
Yeah, I learned a lot, but I still
struggle.
I struggle to be interested in it.
This is where I like some photographers that they just have rules. Like I don't do mascara.
Yeah.
Matteo Montanari. He's like, he will come back and be like, Matteo Montanari does not do mascara. I was like, okay, at least that's cool. Something I can like follow.
That's like, I think it's like
an arbitrary rule, so it just looks like a rule.
Yeah, it's like decision making. Like, okay, he's really decisive.
Yeah, this guy knows what he likes.
He's like, it looked pretty good, but
and then you're like, what is mascara?
I've decided. Just like pick something.
Why don't you want it? Like,
what's the difference?
Like, it's just like bleeds authority when you do that. It's like, okay, you can do whatever the fuck you want,
but just know.
But I don't want any smoky eyes. No smoky eyes.
I guess.
Okay, he doesn't want smoky eyes, guys.
He's no smoky eyes, dude. I don't want lipstick. I don't want base.
But at the same time, it gives a certain line to your work. So it's like, what are you doing? Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I've thrown style out the window now. I just do whatever you want.
So then you kind of get to that. That's how I'm feeling about it. What do you need? How much are you paying?
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
It's great.
You got it.
Yeah. But that's always been my problem, because I assisted for so long that I learned so many different types of lights.
Mm-hmm. You can do whatever.
That I could do so many. So like I would experiment a lot with my tests, and I would do like one lighting style and then another lighting style, because I liked them all, you know. And I still like them all. It's like I don't want to choose just one out of the other because
so that means you're able to appreciate what there is to appreciate about different moods.
Yeah,
which is a quality, but that actually plays against you.
It plays against you because you don't have a single
style
little cubby holder that can put you in. It's like, oh, we want to shoot that kind of stuff. Let's get Andy in there.
And that cubby holder is actually called ignorance because it's people who are like, I do this. It's
really good for commercial clients.
Yeah,
like for advertising and that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, Andy, I can get proposed to like any kind of thing but it's not that great for what we really want to do, motherfuckers.
Wait, do we need to
today it's like that.
Pause something?
No, we don't have to pause anything. This is just how it is. This is what happens. This is what happens when you invite French people to your house.
They get you all drunk on tacos and beer. I feel like I should be doing something.
No. You see, the younger brother has been well trained.
Charles, my brother, if you're watching.
Yeah, this is how you do it. I'm just dealing with the electricity staying away from this thing, and we're okay. This is a thing now.
Oh Lord!
But
unfiltered, uncut.
Amazing. Well done, Andy.
So you just put this online, like no edits whatsoever. Kind of like how 360 porn works. Did you ever think about that?
I don't know. I don't know what 360 porn is. Gautier.
Well, let me explain. I'm not kidding though. They just put the camera in there. There's no editing. This guy I met, he's like, this is like 80% of my business.
Porn.
This guy I met.
But is that a website? Or is it the kind of porn?
It's a type of porn.
Okay, no, I don't know. I watch other porn, but not that porn.
It's like the
it's the virtual reality stuff.
Virtual reality.
Have you got
porn.
the goggles?
I bought a pair of goggles.
Right.
I maybe have tried out the porn really fast. But this neighbor of mine was like, this is about 60% of my business. I don't want to know what the other 40% was. And he said, I just pay him, I pay her. They go in a room. This thing is stuck on a ball and it's a 360 camera. And then at the end, there's no editing. I just cut the file, give it to these distributors and I make cash on that.
Nice.
It's a good business model.
Yeah.
I might get into it. I don't know.
Maybe. It's just one of those,
nobody's going to give you shit about hair and makeup and that stuff.
I appreciate it. Sorry, I did this.
If this was in South Africa, in the US, you get like punched for spillage.
Yeah, if there was a rule, but we haven't put any rules up.
You get punched for spinach?
Spillage.
Oh,
the drinking rules. You drink with your left hand, not with your right. If I catch you drinking with your right hand, I yell buffalo, and you have to down it.
I've never heard of it.
You don't know that?
This is a South African thing.
This is growing up.
You're not ever drinking with your hand?
You're supposed to drink with your weak hand. So if you're a left-handed person, you drink with your right.
Is this because you're supposed to be doing something else with your right hand?
No, it's because we need more excuses to drink.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. And then there are parties where you just make up a rule every half an hour, like, I don't know, you have to call everybody with the name of the person who's standing to their left.
Oh, I like that.
That kind of stuff. So you walk into a place and it's like, hello, Gautier, how are you doing? And you got to be quick, and then maybe somebody else steps in the middle there and he's not Gautier anymore, he's Bob, and it's like crazy, that kind of stuff. And if you fuck up, you drink. Yeah, and then after half an hour, there's another rule and it's like,
that 1 year he stayed in South Africa by himself was like,
he learned a lot of stuff.
That was the last year of varsity. So
he went crazy.
Jesus, man.
You had a good time.
Oh man, and it was like Durban's quite a fun place to hang out because it's very cheap.
Oh, so it was in Durban.
Yeah.
Which is
and
cool.
there's like there's a bar for every night that's doing like some sort of special.
All right.
And then I was waiting on tables at night, so you have lots of disposable income.
Okay, you have all that cash.
Tips,
yeah, that's
so
how
it's like, okay, work the first couple of nights, you pay the rent, done, and then it's like the rest of it was party. And then all the bartenders from all the clubs because they all come to the restaurant and you go to theirs and whatever. So you're always walking into whatever, and then it's just like drink and you get to the end of the year and it's like, yeah, passed.
Passed out.
Yeah, passed, whatever. Then done.
Oh man.
I got to my final exams like hammered. So I went to a cricket game the day before with a friend of mine.
And those things last for 3 days.
Yeah, it was long. And it was like, and he was playing and he's like, come to the fines meeting at the end of the game. So I go to this fines meeting and it's like, oh, we have a guest. Mr. Olivo, please stand up. And they put 2 beers in my hand. It's like down. It's okay, you start drinking like that. And then it's like, you had to drink every time you had to go to the toilet, and you could only go to the toilet when everybody said that you could go to the toilet. And it's like,
It's like an unending thing.
So it was like hectic.
I'm going.
So I got home at like 4 a.m. I passed out in the corridor between the bathroom and my bedroom. I passed out. Woke up the next morning with the carpet, imprinted on my face. It's like, I'm sure I'm supposed to be doing something. Goddamn exams. So I just quick shower and I walked because I couldn't drive.
Did you actually pass though?
Yeah, I passed.
Amazing.
I passed. It was easy. It's like technique of photography or something.
Oh, but you were studying photography.
I was in art school. Like,
that's fucking bullshit.
So easy. So stupid. I was so dumb. I should never have studied photography.
Well, as somebody has not studied photography, I wish I had though. So.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
What do you wish you had studied?
Like philosophy.
He's in that. He's in that.
But that's that age group.
Or a story of art, or just anything that helps, like conceptualize.
Was that not included in your photography course?
Yeah, some, but it's not. I was at a technical
you don't
college.
really get that deep into it.
Yeah, it's like a little bit, and it's in Africa, so it's already like diluted. Maybe if you study it in Milan, it's like
a little bit better. I studied photography here for 6 months when I got here, because I got out of my days. Just to be perfectly honest, I was a massive ecstasy and coke addict, and I was way into the techno scene, and I was DJing, and this was my real life passion.
In Milan.
Which was in here. No, here. I stopped here. This is why I came here, to get clean of all this stuff. Anyways, but I studied photography when I got here because I wanted to become a photographer, and I did 6 months of evening classes at YED, which they had promised to me in English, and showed up they were all in Italian.
Of course.
And you learned it all here, like
everything relative to photography I learned here, and I started with this Japanese guy I assisted for a few months, and that's cool. And it was just the worst school and classes ever, and I agree with you on that. Like, if that's what studying photography means, then absolutely not. But I'm sure there has to be there's a deeper way. There's so many beautiful books. There's so many.
There are ways. But my school was very technical.
It was technical.
Their whole thing was to get you out of there and to become a great assistant.
So you could be a good studio guy and
exactly, and start learning from there. So they taught you how to print, and they taught you how to develop film, and they taught you everything about all the lights and how to play with them. And
do you feel that has defined you as a photographer? Like, you're a technical photographer?
Yeah, 100%. But also because the whole the philosophy, like the standing joke was, what the difference is between an artist and a large pizza. A large pizza is going to feed a family one day.
Which is not bad.
School, So I was like, haha.
But so then I applied to this very, very famous French school called l'École Nationale de Photographie in Arles, and which is only intellectual, zero technical skills. And what you hear a lot about these guys is they go through 3 years of purely theoretical approach to photography and image making, and they're really good on the intellectual side, and they can't man a studio for the life of them, and so they're all really jobless.
You need both.
You need both, exactly.
Or you need like a really great assistant.
Or you, but that's always you kind of want to know how to do shit on your own. I don't know.
I mean, I think the ideal would be to, at least with what I do, which is everything.
You do the whole thing.
I like doing a lot of stuff. I get interested in so much stuff because there's so much stuff to play around with. So my idea is basically, if I want to do something, I have to be able to do everything myself.
About it, yeah.
And then obviously, if you have someone who's good at doing one thing, you delegate and you let them do it and let them run with it. But it's so shitty when you want to do something, you don't know how to do it.
Yeah. You want to learn
possibilities. No?
You don't know. I'm like, okay, I want to do this, but how do I do a 35mm shot? Mm-hmm. Or how do I do a VHS video?
So what's your answer to that? You go into YouTube tutorials?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, that's the thing.
That's my university.
That's what everybody. Anybody asks me a question, how do you know that? I'm like, YouTube tutorial.
Yeah.
But then you're never.
And masterclasses, just the internet.
You did? Okay. But
I was listening to, I just bought the Black Friday deal. Masterclass, right? No?
Online school of something.
Yeah, it's an online school with acting, has Kevin Spacey and.
I saw the advertisements for that. Yeah. And there's was the English guy who does photography is Nick Knight.
Yeah, he's I think one of the guys who set it up.
He cracks me up. So he had this podcast too. He was interviewing models.
All right.
And then I think he stopped halfway through because he's just interviewing Kate Moss, and you're like, she's very
can't
beautiful.
go anywhere after
she's
that.
fucking stupid. Like, and he'd be like, so how was it working with Mario Testino? She's like, it's fine, it was nice. It's fucking
awesome.
Kate Moss.
And
She's
then
an
obviously
idiot.
she's not going to say anything about these people, right?
course.
Yeah, she can't say anything bad.
because she needs to work, so it's never going to be like, terribly interesting. That.
But so yeah, sorry. So you do the masterclass.
Yeah, so just like I did like a writing, like a screenwriting course with like Andy Sorkin. Not Andy Sorkin, Andy?
No, it's
Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
Sorkin.
And that was like the
guy
first
who
one I
wrote
did.
West Wing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And he
dude.
talks about that as well,
Yeah?
like all the things.
Great show.
Super good. And he like, it's actually one of the best courses I've done on that website, because he actually teaches you things that you can actually apply.
No
You're like,
way.
okay, cool. And then like the other day they had like a mad Black Friday sale, and like 1 year for like $100, and you can give another year to another person. So I was like, okay, fuck it. And I started listening to the Anna Winter lessons on like leadership and like photo editing and like how she runs it. And it was like, it's like super interesting.
Really?
Yeah,
Masterclass.
Did she just say like?
The marketing on that was so perfect that I did not take it seriously.
It is amazing.
No, it's good.
It is
Really?
amazing.
Because it's literally like, what's it, about 20 lessons, like 1 hour lessons, one-on-one with that person.
One-on-one as in it's
like
a screen.
me talking to you. Like, and I'll just talk to you for like an hour about how this thing works. And then at the end of it, they put you in contact with all the other people that did the course. So you can actually like do it like, some
community network,
forums or whatever. And they give you homework as well, which I've never done.
So you've done this as well?
Yeah, he gave it for me for my birthday. He did the Aaron Sorkin one, and I did there was a director.
I can't
remember which one it was.
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard. Yeah, the Ron Howard directing
What
one.
do you do?
Which wasn't that great, actually.
No, it wasn't that good.
We don't like Ron Howard.
No.
I can't remember what he's done.
He did some stuff that.
Apollo 13.
Oh, just small, tiny movie.
No. He's done some great movies. I can never remember any of them.
Just a terrible teacher.
Yeah, no, it was just like not that interesting.
He would like take examples of other people's work, right?
I don't know. I stopped listening at one point.
I have a year to watch
the
it.
Aaron Sorkin one, I was like taking notes. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. This I can use.
Oh.
Just like conceptualizing things and how to break it
that's
down.
Like awesome, because what we were talking about before, it transcends script writing. It was like, okay, these are like I was talking to you about social media communication.
Yeah.
And how that can be applied to other things. And like this is storytelling, and that can apply to photos, video, movie scripts.
Yeah, my problem
short stories.
is the conceptual.
And you feel that's helped you, this course has helped you in whatever you do?
Definitely.
Wow, you've changed my mind on this.
But the thing is, you have to be willing to learn. Like I hated studying at school. Hated everything. I hated story of art. I hated doing like...
all the scholarly stuff, basically.
Yeah, but like even when we had to like... I did art as well as history. And in art, we had to do like a preparation. Like, how do you get to this idea? You have to like do a presentation.
Mood boards. And
like mood boards. I was like, I already have the idea in my head. Why do I have to like... So I just
I have to convince other people to work with.
And now I understand, like I have to do that on a daily basis. I'm like, fuck. Like, but now I'm interested in it. So I'm like, okay, I want to do it like nicely, and like a presentation has to be done like in a certain way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like from that you can do talks as well, which would be interesting. But you have to be interested in actually learning it. So sometimes you get too interested in learning it and you don't apply it. That's where I am right now. So, like,
so you don't just want like the amassing the knowledge.
Yeah, I don't want any more like inputs. I got to start doing stuff now.
Actually doing
How
stuff.
do you conceptualize a shoot? How do you start? Like where does...
So I have these secret online mood boards of mine that I don't show on social media. And usually my ideas come from there. So like I'll have like a Tumblr account or whatever. Right. And I just, when I'm bored, I scroll through Tumblr and I save images. And they're usually like much weirder and darker than whatever I'm doing afterwards, but it'll come from there.
So it'll be like an image of like a thing, like maybe a hillside, and you'll be like, this is the mood I want to create. And
exactly,
and then you get the team together.
Or it's location based.
Yeah.
I'll find a location that I really like and I'll be like, okay, let's make a story here, just because that's logistically the simpler way to go.
Yeah, I might find one wall and be like, oh, this is the wall. Yeah. This is going to be a picture.
You've based it on a wall. That's amazing.
And then from that wall, it's like, okay, what can work on this wall?
That's great.
And that's how basically all my my personal stuff comes along.
That's great.
Just like maybe 1 hour that the light is right on that wall. It's like, okay, I need to be
justify
there
the rest of the story.
Exactly. That's and not always. No, it doesn't always work, but when it does work, it's super cool.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I find because the location basing my stuff has gone a little bit out of control. So now it's like, well, I saw this valley 2.5 hour drives in the mountains. And you have to hike an hour, and it's amazing. And I did that last time, and it was just such a nightmare to get.
Yeah, the pictures are cool.
For Avant-Garde magazine,
that's right, I was thinking Marie Claire, but it wasn't Marie Claire.
No. But it was with Peter Cardona, who I love, who's a super nice guy. But I kind of reached the limit of that. You know, like, this is our no budget shoots. Basically, nobody's paying me to do editorials. So how am I going to play this location game and keep it? Because then it's like, let's go to a desert. And I have so many locations around the world I want to shoot in.
You can be like a location photographer. It's like, oh, he does like awesome locations.
Yeah, you want to be that guy. Yeah. That's the dream job, traveling around.
That's what you want. That's why I started taking pictures.
Exactly.
Like, I want to take pictures because I wanted to travel.
I wanted to travel around the world. Yeah. And then you're traveling to...
Well, I traveled as an assistant. I traveled a lot.
Yeah.
All over the show. All the time. And then at the beginning as a photographer, I was doing quite a few trips and stuff. Then slowly, the money's all just dried up.
There's still some people traveling, not that many.
I think they sort of like, they make the call, and it's like, guys, I want to be in Los Angeles for this week. Let's put some shoots together.
Yeah.
And then it's like, they get there and it's like, you know, then maybe.
But so I found that these whole influencers, I got sent to Peru this year. And that was in a certain way the highlight of my career up to now, because going to Peru for work is the dream. It's like, it's what you want to do. But
it looked like an amazing trip.
It was an amazing trip, but I wasn't there for fashion. It was influencer marketing. So all the same pictures, just with normal looking people. You know, it's a bit less glamorous.
Yeah, but you did some personal pictures there, I guess.
So, and I had
you do some great like reportage pictures.
Thanks.
I mean,
thanks a lot.
Where was it that you went?
I traveled around India and Sri Lanka on my own.
The stuff from India and Sri Lanka, that's the stuff that when I first like really started looking at your stuff for some reason, and that really popped up. And I was like, okay, there's Gautier. That's cool.
Funny. That's funny because Cassandra brought this up one time, and she said, Andrea saw your pictures from India, and he's like, oh, this is what he actually loves doing. He just likes to travel around and take pictures. And like, that's really nice of you. Thanks so much.
I don't know. There's just, you have a really interesting way of looking at people. You know, and it's like you feel that there's that you have a connection with it. It's nice. It's you know, a lot of people do travel photography, and most of the time I just get really bored
because it's bad.
Yeah, it's not necessarily bad. It's just bland, you know.
Bland. Yeah, I feel I'm pretty shy if I'm on my own, and so whoever I actually took a picture of, if somebody I've had a real interaction, I don't go up to people and shoot their picture. Like, I just don't do that. First of all, it's super rude. Yeah, and then it's weird. So whoever I took a picture of, I actually had a nice long conversation with them, and so maybe
you like people.
Not really.
No?
I fucking hate people.
Because I can't say, I don't even like want to talk to people. Like I want to talk.
It's a job, right?
I want to do this. Like, this is nice for me.
You enjoy this.
This is great.
Yeah, that's
but
fun.
I hate like talking to people in like bars.
Networking.
Like just normal people that I meet, and it's like the music's too loud and there's people around.
Like, what are you saying?
I've got bad hearing. I can't hear in noise. I've discovered.
Yeah, me too. Like you hear like a fuzz. You hear too
there
much.
Are people that can have full conversations in like a loud disco sort of thing.
And they have a great time.
And they're like, yeah,
this is such a nice time. Let's just
and like they talk to me. I'm like always like,
That's your actual face in the club, isn't it?
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Don't know what I'm doing.
A bit sweatier.
I can't take that shit. Yeah, I was always the guy. I mean, so I have this whole past as a raver basically, but I would be just the guy like head down in the speaker, like don't talk to me.
Music.
Yeah, you don't want to interact with anybody at that time. You just want to be in the music. The whole interacting with people around town is just not something I'm into at all.
Did you get into the music first, or like into like the drug scene and stuff?
No, the music got me into the drugs.
Okay.
And then the drugs was just to enjoy the music more. So it was pretty easy to get out of it because you just kind of step away and then you're all set.
Pretty awesome. Just like interesting, like the whole dynamic of that.
Yeah. Some of my friends that I brought into when we were like 18, 10 years, like, you got to try this shit. It's great. Little ecstasy pill or whatever. And then they were all about the drugs and they didn't give a shit about the music. I was always way more about the music.
Do you still do something like with music now?
No, also just because there's only so much time you can spend alone on your computer or alone nerding out. So you wanna have a little bit of social time, otherwise you just go crazy. And the whole electronic music thing is a very lonesome thing. Yeah, absolutely. Record hunting, producing. I did a bit of producing and stuff like that. What? I was really bad at it, but YouTube tutorials.
It's fun, but it's fun though. Like
it's fun, and you make a nice little object, and it's kind of architectural the way you play with these like boxes and stuff. But I was really bad at it, so I'd rather just take shitty pictures, which is something I'm less bad at.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you ever get surprised that people like your pictures?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm full on imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
100%. I'm still like, you want to pay me money for this thing?
No, I accept that.
I accept that. You're down for that?
People are like, yeah, we're gonna pay you money. But so often I'm like, why?
Why do you like this picture?
Why do you like any pictures?
Any pictures of yours?
I always look at my pictures and I think they're like amateurish.
That's the best look on it, though. I have to say. I hope it is.
Amateurish.
No, I feel like not being able to look at your own pictures is probably a good sign. I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I like some of them. I mean, I do like them. It's not like I don't like them. It's just I feel like
you're cheating.
No. When I look at other people's pictures, I'm like, well, these are amazing. And,
and I
can't do
same
that.
way. Like, this is so good. You don't get how good this is. And then they're like, this is not as good as your stuff. I'm like, no. It's much better than whatever I've ever done.
Because like I don't know, it's weird. Because like when you do something like this, I'm not that into. I'm not that like backwards. Like I know if I do something cool and nice, like a video, if I direct a video, if I shoot a video, I'm not gonna be like.
You can be objective about your own work. I like
it because like then it's very egoistical. Like I'm a skater, so I watch a lot of my own footage. Mm-hmm. So it's very ego based. It's like I did that. Like look, I like how I did that. I hate how.
Are you appreciating the actual trick or the way the trick was shot?
Like how it was shot. And if I do like a good trick, I'm like fuck. They shot it wrong. They shot it wrong, and I can know how good that was and.
Yeah,
I know how good it felt.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a dance between the camera and the skater as well.
Yeah. It has to be synchronized.
And it's a hard dance to get right. Probably.
Yeah, it's super difficult. It's like really technical. But then the worst things that I make, like maybe just like in 5 minutes, and I'm like, this is going to suck. Like this is really going to be, those get like the best views and like the most compliments. And I'm like, I like spent no effort on it.
But that's maybe more where I come from as well. It's like the things that I like really work on, people are like,
they don't like it so much.
I did a story with Vanessa Cocchiaro.
Yeah.
The last one I shot with her. And like she came in from Paris to shoot it. And I was so embarrassed after this because it got dropped from the magazine. They were like, let's do a story on, it was King Kong.
Mm-hmm. King Kong magazine, yeah.
It was the first issue and they asked for a story about gentrification.
Okay.
So
in Milan.
They just asked for a story on gentrification. Okay. The whole mood of the magazine was gentrification.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, cool. Let's go to Giambellino, which is an area in Milan which is getting gentrified, and there's like Giambellino resists written everywhere and that kind of stuff.
Ami il tuo quartiere. I saw it the other day.
So it was like it was there. And I was like, let's get this white chick running around in like fucking amazing fashion with big signs, like protesting, you know, that she doesn't realize that she's part of the problem. Like she is that chick that's gentrifying the area. That was my whole idea.
Okay.
So, and then I had like a t-shirt made with like, I see white people. So I went online and I was like looking for all the things that, like the people that were fighting gentrification were putting on their slogans and stuff. So I made t-shirts, I made placards. I did one, I took the Supreme t-shirt, I wrote Supremacy, which Vanessa didn't like at all.
I wonder why.
No, she said, no, we're using that one. It was awesome, but she didn't think that was going to.
So you put a lot of work into this.
So I put a lot of work in it. I went around, got the locations and everything. Fucking cool, shot it. And they were like, nah, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make what? I was like,
but did you love those pictures?
Yeah, I thought they were really funny. They made me laugh. You know,
you know what? In that case, it's just fuck them.
Yeah, no, I'm happy. I put them everywhere, and they're in my portfolio, and they were cool. And I think Nessa did it because she loves me.
But that's about it.
Yeah, I think that was it. And
I trusted him. And
I came away from Paris.
I might not fly down to Milan anymore.
It was like cold. It was November. It was like the model was sick. It was like one of those shoots that was tough.
that normally end up with like, but it was a success.
I was like, these shoots are great. It's going to be amazing. They're definitely going to get it.
But they wanted a positive message, maybe.
I didn't care what the message was.
What the magazine was wanting.
No, I don't think so, because it's like a cool fashiony magazine. So I was like, this is definitely going to...
But you wanted to have a political message in it.
Well, they wanted to talk about gentrification. You can't talk about that. And then I looked at the magazine and it's like, oh, okay, there's no reference to gentrification
whatsoever
at all. So I was like, oh, okay, I get it. It was just like a theme that you're using. And then I met the guy who started it, whose name is like, I just flown away. He's the guy that he would work a lot with Nicola Formichetti.
Okay.
Davey Sutton. He's a stylist that did a lot of the diesel stuff. So I worked with him, and he's like a super fun guy, and he likes that kind of stuff. Like, and I was like, dude, do you remember?
Oh, you asked him. Good.
And he's like, no, I don't remember it. I never saw it. I was like,
he probably did remember it.
No, it could have been. I don't know. I should have a good time in Cape Town. I've run all over the place.
But this is two things. You want to be really careful when you're mixing fashion and politics.
Yeah.
I think those things do not mix at all. Like, fashion lives in a rarefied air that is blissfully ignorant of anything regarding politics. Like, you can't do fashion and politics. It's just stupid to start with. It's like
Thanks.
No, I mean, and
that was going outside of fashion.
I don't know.
You were trying to give us, and I honestly, I have a big problem with anything. You're selling like 700 euro t-shirts, like you can't make it.
That was a bit of that's what I was like sort of looking at. I was like, why are you talking about gentrification
when you're a fashion
magazine that is probably set up in Hackney?
Yeah.
You know, so that was the whole thing. That was the underlying message.
Maybe that's why they didn't put it in.
Maybe, could be. If they got it, if they got the message and that's the reason why they didn't put it in,
then points to you.
Then I'm happy. Then I'm like stoked. Then it's like, okay, cool. Fantastic.
So that was probably your best story ever, just because it got dropped by the magazine.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But I wanted to ask you something, like getting into photography pretty late. You said 27, right?
Yeah.
You have all these years that you have to catch up on the history of like photography and photographers that made fashion photography.
Yeah.
How do you pick and choose the photographers that interest you? I don't know, because like you keep on talking about Jürgen Taylor and Avedon and all these people, but you studied it and you had like your whole team.
You studied it on your own terms, probably. You didn't study that at school.
They gave us the basics, like they told us about.
These are you should know. Okay, all right.
And Newton was already a little bit too modern.
Let's not go there. It's way too modern.
I think at one point the chick the professor who did the art history sort of part of the course came along with a Sisley catalog from that Terry Richardson shot, and I was like, wow,
it's crazy. Yeah, the one with like the milk.
That one. It was that one.
To answer your question, I had always, because I was a music collector, and then I started to shift into image collecting.
Okay.
And so I already had the photographers that I liked all like nicely organized in categories and and folders in my computer.
Like know who shot the photo.
Of some pictures that I would save off of the internet. Yeah, absolutely. And then I did study to get into the National French Photography School. I did not get in, and which was a blessing in disguise. But the studying part took me a year, and I just spent a full year reading only theoretical philosophy books, like, the whole like Sontag, blah, 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 and studying up on all these photographers that they were mentioned. So my visual background is much more art photography than it is fashion photography. I don't really...
See, I've never read one of those books.
No. You would love Susan Sontag. Because we were talking earlier about Sam Harris. He turned me on to Sam Harris, and Sam Harris would not like this, but he is my guru. He's my religious cult leader. And my free... Anyway...
Neuroscience.
Sontag is a fantastic read on her analysis of what image is and how, we relate to these images because we want our life to resemble these images that are a lie in themselves and all this stuff. And she's absolutely super interesting.
Yeah,
really amazing.
With all that kind of stuff. I've never got into any of the like...
It exists as an audio book as well.
I'll get that.
Audiobooks for the win.
Yeah, no, it's good because, and then, like I said, I really enjoy reading, and I spend a lot of time reading. And like I've been going through all Camille Paglia's books. Camille Paglia is an art critic from like a small visual arts college in the States. But she's like a quite important like feminist voice and talking about fashion, but she's like very like hardcore. She's really fun to like read because she's a bit Italian, a little bit like she doesn't give a shit about anything, so she'll like shit on everybody like, all the time. But she ties in art through music.
Okay. Oh, that is very, very, I would hate that. Oh.
No, but it's really good, man. Yeah, you definitely hate it. But so I've discovered through just Sam Harris and all the podcasts that I've been. I mean, the reason we did this is because we enjoy podcasts, and that's opened a whole section of knowledge that I just sort of ignored my whole life. So like all the classics, Dostoevsky, all that kind of stuff that I should have read like 10 years ago, 15
and you're
years
reading
ago.
these guys now.
I'm getting it through now.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm getting
He is.
It's never too late.
I'm looking at Instagram posts. how to make a better Instagram post.
Yeah.
But like the names, at least you recognize names. And you're like, okay, eventually I will read that or listen to someone who does.
I don't know if we ever will, though, to be honest. Like, I feel like my reading days are just behind me at this point. I'll read.
When I say read, I mean like a YouTube review or someone like tells me what this guy talked about.
I was stuck in. I went to Catholic college for 3 years, boarding school.
Right.
Like the real deal, you know, like.
Jeez. Like when they say we're going to send you to.
They wake you up with a bell at 6:30 a.m. like that. I was in there for 3 years. And I was basically stuck in a study box, you know, like a few. I'm getting naked selfies right now.
Awesome.
No, probably not. I hope they are though. And so I'm really well read because from age 15 to 18, I was in prison basically, and read all these Dostoevsky guys and a lot of the Russian classics.
But don't you think it's a wrong time to read that kind of stuff?
It's the best time to read that.
You think?
Yeah, because you're really sensitive at that age. You're all like confused.
That's the thing. I wasn't.
And you're like so dramatic. You were not confused.
I wasn't confused.
You were not sensitive or confused.
No,
oh man,
no, it's weird. Like I think you have the same sort of story. Teenage years for
grayness.
Teenage years for me were like easy as fuck.
Really?
Didn't give a shit about anything. Like I was just like listening to music. I mean,
Just have a good
that's
time.
a weird thing. Like I used to listen to like Placebo and like
and
all
First
that kind of
album, the
stuff.
one with the red sweater kid on the cover.
I can't remember. Like there was one called Ghosts with.
Yeah, that's the
Sleeping
first
with
album.
Ghosts,
Sleeping
maybe?
with Ghosts, first
Yeah.
album. It's a beautiful album.
Yeah.
It's an amazing album,
love
but I
that.
wouldn't get like emotional listening to it. I was like,
What?
I like
that's the thing.
the
We're
music.
cold. We're dead inside.
I
What
like
is
the
wrong
music.
with you guys?
And now, like, if I see Wally or something like that, and then one like note comes on, or like now something that really gets me lately is like
Start bawling at Wally.
like I get like the little. like the little thing is like when someone says like I'm proud of you or something, or like or they hug like someone and they're really like they're happy to see them. I'm like, why am I like
So
emotional? Why? Like what?
That's so funny.
Yeah,
It's like so
going
crazy.
We're going through puberty now, baby.
yeah.
Do you get that on planes particularly?
like
I get
planes,
extremely emotional on planes. I could watch whatever movie. I have cried in front of every single Harry Potter movie on planes.
Really?
I'm just like,
Why Harry Potter?
Because they're always on the fuck. I don't know what to do on the long flight. I just
No. Why are you watching Harry Potter? Harry Potter is great. Why do you cry in Harry Potter?
because I'm in the plane. But any movie, I will just be bawling. But
Is there a moment when that happens?
when you're in the plane,
So you're like, the moment you walk, like you're scared of flying.
So why do you watch
I
movies on the
love
plane?
flying because it sounds great. You never get that. Get a good cry out. You know, nobody's looking at you. It's great.
Yeah,
You have a good
that's
time.
also like I'm not scared of crying. Like I'll cry.
Will you cry in front of people?
Oh, dude, I have no problem
Yeah.
crying. I'm like,
Happened after a podcast.
we
You've cried on this podcast?
not
Like
on the-
afterwards,
like
after
on-
the 3-hour podcast, I was like, please stop, man.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We did. Because
We
we,
had a
like,
bit of a
we had
moment.
these guys on. They have like they're brothers. They have like a collective of like they just created this collective of photographers, and they do like a lot of printed stuff.
Okay.
And then, but we did like an hour before the podcast. We just talked, and then we did 3 hours of podcast, and then we did 3 hours like
Crying
Whiskey
together.
afterwards.
Oh,
and we're like super drunk and stuff.
Yeah, then we just got emotional about stuff.
Yeah, it was like it was
But
cool.
I have no problem. Like I'm like that's not a thing. It's just, but I don't get. I wasn't worried about anything. about like, who am I?
You don't have any of that teenage angst stuff.
No, nothing.
Not
And
at
I couldn't
all.
understand. That's why I
No.
hated teenage. I hated my
Really?
peers. Like I couldn't understand them because I didn't have what they
Why are you
had.
guys being such pussies?
Yeah, but I wasn't even like a jock.
That's why you got bullied.
Beat up at
They
school.
probably
You understand my teenage angst, man. Come on. She's like, feel something, bruh. Feel something, bruh.
Probably it could be actually because I was just like, come on, guys, just fucking deal with it, right? You know,
Do you
just-
feel like you're more emotional now than you were back then? That's probably because you're more you have more of a vastness of emotional capacity
I don't
now
think
that
I'm
you
more
just didn't have at
emotional.
the time.
I think like I'm the same kind of emotional. Like I would have cried. Old what's it? Lassie almost dies. I'm crying.
Who doesn't cry to that?
That kind of stuff. I don't cry when Bambi's mom gets killed. It's fine with that. So they're probably gonna
It's right in the beginning of the movie.
Probably.
They haven't built it up yet.
Yeah, you're still working
I
on
got no
it.
relationship with that chick.
I think there was a Brooklyn Nine-Nine episode that we got like a little choke. I was like,
Yeah. They're
Well, that is very emotional. You got crying out of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Because
That is a stretch, my man.
the thing about Brooklyn Nine-Nine and the thing about Friends and the thing about The Office, all those you feel like you're part of the family, like part of the friends. You want to be part of them.
You definitely are part of them.
Yeah, you're like in it. You're like, okay, that's fucking Amy Santiago, and that's
I love Amy Santiago. Oh my god, well, yeah, okay. I feel the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I feel like I gave up reading novels at one point because I was like, these people are all drama queens. I need a fucking break from all this. Because then you eventually meet a writer or two, and you're like, oh, you could make a whole book out of this one little emotion you have.
Yeah.
And first of all, who gives a fuck? Like, I don't care about your emotions. I got shit to do, baby.
Yeah,
And,
of course.
and then as I'm growing older, I'm realizing I'm getting like dead inside and colder. But when I was 15, I was a hot mess, man.
I was always
all over the
cynical
place.
about the
Cynical about it.
about just people. Like I was always like, why are you doing this? Like,
Glad that's changed.
yeah, no, changed. Like that's why I struggle to like be overawed by like an artist or something. I love art. I'll watch it and look at it and like sit there and understand and whatever. But I'm always thinking, okay, well, this guy was. I go look at the story of the artist and it's like, okay, so this guy was basically bankrolled by dad, and he's and that's already like 2 points less.
And
it's
there
like,
is a quality of any artist that's annoying because they have to take themselves extremely seriously.
Exactly.
And it's so annoying. And you hear anybody talk about their art and like, you just
And they're
think
always
you're the
talking
shit,
about how
aren't
much
you?
they're suffering. And, it's like,
Yeah.
And I always think, well, I've seen people suffer, and people that suffer don't look like this, and they're not doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
It's a different
Painting,
thing.
that's
They're
for sure.
definitely, they may be painting
Exactly.
something else. They're painting the side of a wall or whatever.
They do it as a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm fucking suffering right now. Like,
But it's true. Yeah, there's this capacity of I'm sorry, I'm moving the mic again. This way, like any valid artwork has to be made by somebody who's basically insufferable because he takes himself so damn seriously. And it's like the human quality is unbalanced. It's just really annoying.
Yeah, it is.
And a lot of, I hate saying this, but it's true for a lot of photographers.
No, but of course, because and then it's like that fake it till you make it sort of thing as well. It's like you got to be where you want to be, and it's like,
Yeah. Do you want to do that?
do I want to be that? Really?
Exactly. Can you make it?
I think also my bar for where I wanted to be was quite low. It's like I wanted to make money doing this, survive doing. Like we were saying at the beginning, it's like I wanted to be able to make a living, travel, take some nice pictures, and maybe one day leave something behind, like a book or something.
You don't have that calling like, oh, I want a legacy and I want my art to change the world. I want like, fuck that.
No.
And did art ever really change the world? I honestly don't think so.
Maybe some pictures. Maybe the
They're always a representation of a truer, deeper movement. That's a social, economic movement that's happening, and the image is just a show of
I'll
that.
tell you one
A
picture.
reflection.
Yeah, it never. No, somebody else would have done that picture. not
Maybe
you.
only the
Vietnamese-
sci-fi artwork of the
Vietnamese
50s.
girl.
Maybe that
Okay,
actually
wait, this is
inspired people
interesting.
to like
Yeah,
make stuff
yeah.
outside. The whole the whole moon mission stuff.
Uh-huh.
That was maybe like very inspiring. That she changed.
Are you saying the moon mission was faked and it was just art and Kubrick filmed it?
No, I'm saying.
You can see the flag is moving.
I'm saying. Like my opinion is that even they probably did fake it, but they didn't fake the moon landing.
They faked everything.
They faked the footage, maybe.
Way too much work. I'm not going to have this discussion.
Let's just have it.
Let's have it. I think we should have it because as a photographer, you look at those pictures and it's like they definitely shot that in something very, very massive. Because the lines, they all say the parallel lines and that bullshit. I've actually done the experiment.
You try this.
Because I was arguing with somebody on Facebook. That's where I feel alive.
He still uses Facebook.
Of course, because it's the place these psychos hide, so I'm going to go find them.
Before we get into that, let me just I think they definitely went. They definitely took back photos and video, and some of it got damaged. And they're like, okay, fuck.
Why? Why are you saying this?
Because they had that one, the one photo that they used for the press release. That they used it again for like a whole bunch of stuff. Like we actually went to the moon, and there's like this is actual footage of the moon.
Yeah, there's a picture of him coming down the ladder.
Yeah,
and then if you actually see the original of that picture, he's like in a pool.
I think.
Pool.
Yeah.
And you can see the bubbles and
So
stuff.
they doctored a few extra pictures.
They doctored some pictures.
I don't think they doctored everything.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, they must have.
Because
it was a massive communications deal.
Like you're a marketing guy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. It was a marketing, but it was a promotional thing.
We just produced the most amazing artist. And we just lost all of the audio because someone left it in the boot of a car, and it was a rental car, and then it got fucked up and it got stolen. Okay, dude, you know how to produce a beat? Okay, this is the new Frank Ocean CD. That's Frank Ocean. That's amazing. Well, whatever comes is going to be amazing. Yeah. So it was like, okay, who's the best guy in the moment? Kubrick. You did that one movie with like the space and the chimpanzees and shit. Okay.
Oh, so you think they even got Kubrick?
Some footage, I think they did.
I don't.
Why
think so.
Kubrick?
Because
he was the best.
Because he probably had the most technical.
What everybody forgets all the time is that Kubrick, yes, he could have done it, but it still didn't look like he couldn't do it on such a massive scale, right?
But didn't the guys from what's the company in Singapore that does the 3D cards, ATI?
3D cards?
The 3D graphic cards.
Oh, right. I don't know.
They tried to fake it, and they couldn't do it. They were like, "There's definitely these are real images because we couldn't do it for fake on."
I don't know about this. What happened?
It's a company that does 3D graphics as it's their core business. Is the 3D graphic cards for video games. And they tried to simulate these images in space on the moon with their brand new thing, and they were like, "It just doesn't work out because."
That's awesome.
And this is the proof that we actually landed on the moon, but maybe also the proof that they were paid off by NASA.
That could be, exactly.
NASA.
That's the thing.
NASA.
You just can't. But looking at,
I don't rule out everything.
You've got the arguments are
but I'm like,
you can't see the stars. Of course, you can't see the stars because the light is bright here and it's dark there, and you're not going to see the stars. You can't see the flag moves. Of course, the flag moves. You just put it there, and there's no atmosphere. It's going to move for like hours.
Still looks weird as hell, though.
It does look weird, but if you think about it,
you've never been to the moon, so you don't know
what it's like. Look, they bounce. Why wouldn't they bounce? I mean, there's like third of the gravity.
The fact is, you can see the buggy up there.
No, you can't.
What do you mean you can't?
It's there.
Reddit has been lying to me.
You can't see the buggy because it's so small that you'd have to have like a kilometer long telescope to see it. So that's why these people are crazy, and they keep going, but you can't see the buggy.
But even if you see the buggy, it's a projection in the sky, man.
Yeah, of course you can't see the buggy because
everything has like a counter, like
it's like a stupid counter argument. But so you can't see it; it won't render.
What's amazing though at the end of the day is the amount of people our age that don't believe it at all. I have like some really well-educated friends from my age from Australia, like went to good colleges and stuff, and they'll be like, "Did we land on the moon?" They're like, "I don't think we did."
Oh shit.
But it's also just not understanding that it's not just one flight to the moon. It's a program that lasted 20 years. It's like 18 or 20 flights. It was just like a whole big machine. And it was like a huge big machine.
The fact that it was like a big race. It was like the fucking moon race.
The domination of everything.
The space race, sorry. It actually rhymes. I mean, if they didn't get there, that was like, if you got there, it was like checkmate.
Exactly.
Like we can put like missiles up there. So even if it's like the biggest bluff ever and they never really went that day.
Do you think they went anyway?
They definitely went.
The stakes were too high not to go.
I mean, it's crazy. And like all the shit that's in the atmosphere right now. Like all the trash
that happened from somewhere. No, absolutely. It's very frustrating to have these conversations because it's a waste of time on what other conversations you could be having.
Like we're also like on a one-way trip to like Idiocracy. Like that whole, you ever see that movie?
It's happening. I have not seen the movie, but it's definitely happening.
It's happening. It's like way too much information, way too many questions, and not a lot of like not being open to answers. I think that's a lot of the thing.
And refusing to trust establishment. The whole, like, what's going on in America right now is so frustrating because they're like, the whole corpus of your Secret Service has said that Russia has tried to meddle with your elections. And then the whole Republican Party is like, yeah, but maybe not. You know? And you refuse to believe career people who work, that's their job, and they have no reason to lie to you. They just want to do their job and live a nice life. And we're going to this place where nobody is trusting anyone. I read the other day that one guy went from somewhere in the Midwest all the way to the 9/11 ground zero to make sure it existed because he was convinced it was it was just a big lie that they were telling to him, like Truman syndrome. You know, when you feel like you live in the Truman.
Is that a thing now?
Truman syndrome. If you feel like you live, and it's a lot of the guys who are flat earthers are totally.
But
Truman syndrome.
How much of that is ego?
It's all ego.
I'm special. How much of that? The flat earthers, though, is a lot of that is religion as well.
Because it's going to be religious, of course.
No, because they believe in a geocentric model because God created Earth, and so everything has to revolve around the Earth.
Yeah.
So most of these people are Christians.
Yeah, they're ignorant Christians.
Yeah. Or they're just Christians that have faith. That's how it has to be, and so that's a disaster.
It's a very frustrating.
But it's fine because I mean,
interesting. It's funny.
What's going to happen? You know, like what can
what's
flat
currently happening?
Do?
No, flat earthers can you can burn up the planet.
No, they can't.
Yeah, you can, because that's what we're doing right now. And we're not addressing global warming because there's a whole half of the world that's just refusing to look at it in the eyes and move forward. And we have to change the whole way we're living. Yeah. Everything has to change. It's not an easy step. Like the whole way our structure.
Yeah, that should be easy. Like if you think about it, it should be easy. Like even if there isn't global warming, like scientifically, there isn't. Everyone's like half the world is wrong. You should be living as if it is.
Yeah, you can't take that risk. Yeah, you cannot take that risk.
If we get to a certain point, it's fucked.
Yeah. I sincerely believe we are fucked.
I'm not worried about it at all.
You're not? Because you got a secret bunker in the Alps or something.
No. Like I'm definitely not worried about it. It feels
because you feel like the answer will come from technology.
Of course, of course it will.
Typical answer.
That was very French.
Of course it will.
We'll find a way to suck the CO2 out of the ozone.
Wealthy people don't want to die more than poor people do.
Yeah, I'm sure there were some wealthy dinosaurs.
So either they're gonna maybe like a Stegosaurus with a harem.
I feel we should never underestimate greed.
But at the end of the day,
wealthy people are not smarter than poor people. They just want the same.
That was very we didn't land on the moon talk.
Of course they are. Are you saying that Elon Musk is dumb?
I'm not saying Elon Musk is dumb. I'm saying there's a lot of casinos or owners that are worth billions of dollars that are really
not the ones that are going to do this.
They're the guys who are doing the damage, though. They're bankrolling Trump. They're bankrolling all these Republicans.
Yeah.
It's terrible, and it's not just them. It's like anybody who's a head of an industry guy is just.
I think the only way we're going to solve the problem is if we can bring up the third world to first world standards.
That's an easy task to do.
That's the solution, though. It's not bringing the first world down to third world standards.
Because if the whole third world and second world was living on first world standard, we would already be fucked, basically.
No, we wouldn't, because the first world cares more about the environment than the third world.
Yeah, but the third world is where our environment credit is the third world, because the third world is not consuming so much of the good stuff.
All those plastic straws.
Oh, fuck that.
They're not coming they're not coming from Denmark.
Global warming is coming from fashion industry, from the petroleum industry. It's coming from our countries, not from their countries. They're small.
They're burning paraffin
China.
They're burning paraffin to light their shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, but paraffin is terrible.
But it's just tiny quantities.
Yeah, lots of tiny. There are millions. There are millions of poor people.
Like, it's like Italy.
How many millions of poor people are there?
There's
Like billions. There's
about
like-
6 billion poor people.
Okay,
Isn't that it?
fantastic.
7 billion total, 6 billion
So
poor
if
people.
6 billion poor people are all burning paraffin every day,
They're still not burning as much as the 1 billion rich people. That's
we
the
have
whole
nuclear
point.
power. We're not burning anything.
No,
We're all
you
on
don't have
solar
nuclear
power.
power. Italy doesn't have any nuclear
They
power.
won't let us have it. The French won't let us have it.
We like our good
It's your
stuff.
fault.
But basically,
The
like,
French want nuclear power. They put it all in the Alps, so that if something explodes, it comes this side.
Slightly tilted to Italy. It's like a little slide.
That's what they
It's
did.
a radioactive
by
slide.
the way, the Mont Blanc is French. I'm just going to say that.
Mont Blanc, the name says it.
It's Monte Bianco.
It's
Actually.
Mont Blanc. It's fucking
You
French.
just stole it. Didn't you? Stole it last week.
I just did it again.
They're like,
We steal
they
it
put a
every
flag.
week.
They still
every
they can put flags in places and we fix
It's
theirs.
the English way of conquering the
Did you ever
world.
see that?
Eddie Izzard.
Eddie Izzard, he's a genius.
Oh
man.
my God.
He turned me on to stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, stand-up comedy is great. It was like,
Yeah,
Eddie Izzard.
Eddie is.
He was like amazing. He's really amazing.
Is he still doing it?
Yeah. It's like he's full on like transvestite now.
Executive transvestite.
Yeah, exactly. I like this guy.
But I went to the National Portrait Gallery in London, and there's a painting there that is exactly the English putting a flag, and there's like an Indian guy and the elephant, and they're all like, huh? And it's like, oh, we have a
The
flag.
cunning uses of flags.
I'm sure. I really
so
wish.
funny.
I hope that Eddie went to the National Portrait Gallery, saw that painting, and was like,
That's my
do you
joke.
have a flag?
You have a flag.
Oh man,
That guy's he's a marathon runner. He's an obsessive
He
marathon
ran
runner.
like 30 marathons.
Yeah, he's really good. And then you have to respect him even more.
Yeah. It's
You
like
gotta love that.
Yeah, he's done that all around Britain. Then he did one in South Africa, like all around South Africa.
How's your running going? Weren't you getting into it?
Stopped.
I tried to encourage you.
No, you did well, and I got really amped. And then,
Yeah.
I don't get excited enough about
But
it.
you get your excitement elsewhere. I feel it really is something that completely changed my life. One of the things that helped me get my act together when I moved to Milan was getting into running.
Yeah.
And it was weird. This is a bit more boring. When I moved here, one of the reasons I moved here, my career is going nowhere. I was working in restaurants and I had this injury and my American non-insurance was not covering. So I walked like a zoppo for a year. For a year I was like walking like this. So I got here, got insurance and got better and then started running. And it just totally cleaned up.
You really do run.
What happened? Like, can I ask that?
Like
what happened to your leg?
I think it was a skateboarding thing. I
skated?
skated for a long time, yeah. But I was never good at it. It was always really bad.
No one's really
and
good
by
at
the
it.
time I was in New York, I was longboarding just back and forth.
Okay, sick.
Longboarding through Brooklyn from my job back home. I was doing a lot of drunk longboarding home from the restauranting shifts. So nothing too interesting.
Where would you go from? Like, what is the distance?
I was living in the Navy Yards. So
Okay,
between Williamsburg and Brooklyn Heights.
Yeah.
And I was working in Park Slope. So it was like, it was a ride. It's not huge, but enough that it would take you like a good 30 minutes, 40 minutes every day
Pushing on the
back.
skateboard.
Yeah, like flat, like as well.
Sounds like
There's some hills.
hell.
Yeah,
You can go
because you're
up
outside
along
Manhattan,
Prospect Park and then it's all down towards the Navy
Sick.
Yards. So, and at night you're not stopping in the red lights and being a bit crazy.
That's cool.
It was fun. I liked it. And anyways, that got me into the running, which is what I have in common with Eddie Izzard, I guess.
Yeah.
That's about it.
and you speak English and French perfectly.
Perfectly.
Thanks. Yeah.
So that works.
Yeah, he's weird because like he's one of those few comics that do like.
Are you saying Eddie Izzard
Bilingual.
speaks French?
Yeah,
He does stand up in
his-
French.
No, he doesn't. He
does.
says, Le chat est sur la table.
He does that to make
does-
fun.
Yeah,
But he actually goes to Paris.
speaks
and
French
he does
perfectly?
his whole
Oh.
routine in French.
I had no idea.
Yeah. I don't know if you can find it online, but I'm sure it probably.
Sure.
I'm sure
I
it's
think I
funny.
found something.
This is not French with me, but he's probably funnier in English.
I think so too.
French is not a funny language.
and neither
it's
is
tough.
Italian. Unless you watch.
Have you seen the stand-up here? There's some good stuff.
No, I haven't seen
Surprisingly
stand-up.
okay.
Really?
At Santeria on Sunday nights.
I should.
It's pretty
We
nice.
should go.
We should do one.
We should all go.
Have you been to the wrestling?
What's that?
Oh, dude, like WWF wrestling.
In Milan?
Yeah.
I've actually been to Forum Mediolanum
No.
few years ago.
No. This is like underground.
Underground,
Like-
hardcore.
Hardcore in
Why am I
Uppsala.
not there right now?
Dude, that's fun to watch. These guys break fluorescent tubes on the backs and stuff, and then it all falls on the floor, and they cut themselves, and it's like blood everywhere. We shot them for a music video.
That's so cool.
And it's like they got carried away by the ambulance because they went like full on crazy because they were getting filmed. So they were like just like blood everywhere.
Yeah, we had to like make the video black and white because
these
YouTube
are like
would block it.
Fake it wrestling, or are they just like MMA?
It's fake it wrestling because it's, you know, the moves are all planned, and you hit you stamp your foot on the ground before you punch, so there's no actual punching and stuff.
Okay,
you know, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But then they go when they break a chair on the back, it's an actual chair,
and it's an actual
it
back.
has probably like, you know, some weak points or whatever, but it's like a chair, it's a steel chair. And then they take these fluorescent tube, these normal, it's like it explodes, and it's like all these tiny shards of glass, which it won't make like a lethal cut. It'll just like
stay
slice
there
into your skin a little bit. Oh man,
dude, they went all out for that video.
They went mad. I mean, they laid out on a table like this, like 10 fluorescent tubes, and then they just dropped the guy from the top rope, and it's like crash on the thing, and then rolled around in the shards of wood and glass on the floor.
And you guys were loving that.
Dude, the video was like amazing.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's one of the best things I've ever done.
So you were the original.
Yeah, we were the
like two cameras, and we're just shooting.
I have so I'm kind of a pussy and all that stuff, and I have this weird thing of hanging around gay guys a lot. So one of my only extreme thing like that ever happened, but I remember being drunk and being like, "This is amazing," was a spanking contest. I was in Amsterdam at this like really, really queer party, and these two guys spanked each other to the blood on stage. And they were just good. It was very slow. You know, they were just like turn around,
but hand
to ass, and naked butts. These two naked, skinny little boys, and they just like spanked it. And these butts were red, and these butts
Surely
bled.
It's more interesting. They're big fat guys.
No, it would have been more fun.
Blood takes more time to get out, I think.
Exactly. But these guys, they were crying, and they were just keeping at it. And I've never had that kind of exhilaration at a otherwise sort of boring party. I was like, yeah, dude, bring it on. And I guess I should see wrestling more often.
That was fun.
We need to do Santeria, and we need to do wrestling.
But did they do like English stand-up as well?
It was all in Italian.
Only Italian.
They had this one guy who had a Netflix special who is Italian but American Italian, and he did it in English, and people got it because Italians all speak English.
Italians now understanding.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah. They're better than the French. I hate saying that, but everybody speaks English.
It's taken them a while though. When I moved here, Italians did not speak English.
You had to teach every single Italian.
Every one by one.
It was like a crusade.
That's why the South is still struggling.
They haven't had time
to work out, don't they?
Got it.
They're a bit dense. So.
They're hard to break.
No, but really, like Netflix has changed that.
Yeah, exactly. The internet has changed everything.
The internet has changed it a lot.
It's kind of good, I guess. It's all right.
No, it's excellent. I'm not a... Like, I think it's nice. The national identities are good to have as like a folkloric sort of thing. But I think the most people speak.
We could all just speak English.
Just English. Whatever. We can speak Chinese, French. It's fine. Just you lost a series of wars. And that's why French has sort of dropped off.
Did some bad real estate deals.
Yeah. If you had won, it would have been okay. We probably would be speaking French.
But the thing is about English, it's so diverse, which is like the beauty of it. I think because like any other language doesn't have that diversity to it.
Yeah, well, other languages. I'm sure.
Yeah, like
I'm sure there's like.
Let me try and like. I've seen a squint. No, because I can speak for Italian and a little bit of Spanish. I can like kind of understand that. The way that they amplify or they give. Damn, I forgot like the word. I forgot English.
I feel like this argument is going nowhere.
They give value to like English movies. They give value to each like accent.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you watch Boondock Saints, or you know what I'm talking about?
I'm talking about the comic show. It's Black Chicago, right?
Boondocks.
Okay, yeah,
Boondock Saints.
But even that, we can use that as
what's Boondock Saints?
It's like a movie.
One of the best movies ever made.
Yeah, it's like a really low budget movie, which is like Irish brothers.
And Defoe.
Willem Dafoe.
In one of his greatest roles.
Really? Yeah. You gotta love Defoe.
Dude, amazing.
I mean, like there's some random guy that like the directing. It's like it's a really good movie. And it's really bad as well.
Okay, because it's so low budget.
Yeah, there's like so many. Yeah, but I mean, like the beauty of that movie, which loses beauty in every single language, is that every character has like such a deep
accent.
Yeah, but not the accent. It's like the accent,
the character
shows you how deep the character is, and you're like, okay, that guy's from Boston.
But don't you feel Italy is amazing for that?
Terrible,
but they don't use it in the movies.
It's terrible
because they're ashamed of it.
They don't. It's like unless it's for comedic value, they don't use it. So like, if you're in Naples, everybody's Napolitano in the thing, you know.
You don't have
you don't have the Milanese guy come in and he's like his character's Milanese, and
but in Naples, that's just bad movie writing.
Okay,
I get it.
But it's a caricature.
Yeah,
like when they did Valensasca, that movie was like, oh shit, they're doing a movie about like a Milan based gangster, and the accent was like, dude, is like way too forced.
Yeah,
it's like bad. Okay. Yeah, it's like it becomes a caricature. Whereas if you look at Joker,
which I haven't seen,
I haven't seen in English, but I've seen some scenes. It's just like his character is like Chicago kind of thing. It's like kind of New York, Chicago. Heath Ledger's, I
get it. Yeah.
It's not like forced on you.
I don't know if it's like that in French,
but that doesn't apply to France, which is interesting. This whole no, because we don't have that many accents. No, we just have like 3 accents, and that's about it.
Like North, Central, and South,
and Paris, and, but like
that's its own thing.
It's its own thing. But that's what it's one of the rare things. I love how folkloric the Italian accents are, and you go 20 kilometers one direction, and the accent will change, and it's insane. Like it's very backwards in a way, but it's also
because I mean it was separated.
It's a very young country. They're still figuring their shit out. Yeah.
But but they don't use it. They don't use it enough.
Not enough. They should be more proud of it.
They should. Yeah, and just like steer into it a little bit, even if you're not proud of it. But actually, I mean, it's the reality is that, so you might as well use it.
True that.
Because I don't know.
Without giving without accentuating it. Because like the problem is when it becomes, okay, that guy's from Bergamo and he's going to be Bergamasco. He's going to be like from Bergamo.
Yeah.
It's not just some guy who speaks like that. And you're like, okay, this guy's going all out. If he's from Rome, he's going to be like that. And then the whole way of acting, it's very theatric. Like when they speak without an accent, it's very theatrical.
I always feel these are more like it's more of a structural problem because there's not the market for the movies, then they don't have the money to make the movies right, so they make these shit movies. So it's just like
what my favorite movies that are dubbed in Italian are like the stoner movies, like Scary Movie in Italian is
because it's twice as funny.
It's twice as funny because like the way they dub stupid movies is almost like if I was with my friends, I would be talking like this. And whereas like any other movie, it's like, okay, we got to be like, I'm from Sicily. Hey, like the Irishman. Have you seen The Irishman? I've seen like the first 20 minutes.
Why can't they still? So you explained this to me. I watched the first hour and a half because I had no idea it was 3 hours long. Why does an American movie done this year or last year, they still can't get Italian right? Their Italian is terrible.
Yeah, like I saw that one scene when he speaks in Italian. I was like, okay, let me see.
I know this is shit, and I'm not even Italian.
And I can deal with De Niro
with the blue eyes
because he's Irish and he just kind of learned it because he was there and like the whole thing is he speaks Italian to this like boss. It's just Joe Pesci. It's not a spoiler at all. It's really good. And he's like, hey, how do you speak Italian? I was in Sicily when I was in the war.
Yeah, esatto.
And then, but Joe Pesci speaks, he's like, dove ha stato, he says. Like,
and there's nobody on set who's like, this is not actual Italian.
But this is where I'm like, okay, this is like the 1940s, 1950s maybe, back in the day. Maybe it's even like 60s. And I'm like, okay, he's second generation. But just to get through the movie. Because he speaks it badly because
we can maybe relate to that because we are second generation Italians and that's how we spoke.
But they're not. They're first generation.
But he's not first generation, I think, because he probably had his parents coming in. The mind trip.
Yeah, you're on this.
Like his parents probably came in on a boat, and he was like born in the US.
But so this is where I finally this year got around to seeing The Godfather. I'd never seen it. And the Italian is as bad.
Oh yeah.
Even the Italian they speak when they're in Sicily in the movie is terrible. It's really bad Italian.
But it's probably the same with all the languages.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen them like the German
who speaks German in the American movie is awful.
Probably terrible.
Yeah, and you hear like
they just don't pay any attention.
They don't give a shit because it's Hollywood.
It's the colonies.
It's the smoke. People don't watch movies over there.
And Inglourious Bastards was the best one because they actually like gave value to that. They're like,
he made it funny.
He made it part of the scene. It's like, why do you speak so weird? Oh, we were born in this like weird little village, and
I don't remember that about them.
Dude, that movie is one of the best.
Italian, the Brad Pitt character.
No. That was like, yeah, he actually used it a few times. Like this thing of making fun. Like he spent some time in Sicily in the war, and he was like, a buongiorno. Like that. But I mean, no, the other guy, the guy Fassbender.
Oh, right,
who actually plays like the German officer, and he's like, why is your accent so weird? And it's like, because I come from this weird little village, and it was like Austria, so it's like the accent's perfect. Yeah, and then he like fucks up with like 3 fingers. Yeah. But that was like such an amazing movie because actually like they make fun of that kind of thing.
It's a crazy good movie. Yeah. It's a great movie.
I watch it like almost religiously every like,
Really? Is that your Christmas movie?
I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I love it. Like all those scenes of the theater burning. The first scene with Shoshana running away. I love that. That it's just like so
What's
simple.
that French actress there? She's cool. The girl who owns the movie theater.
Shoshana.
That's her name. She's cute. I like her.
Yeah, she's awesome. Sick. We should maybe before we get onto something like free will.
Oh yeah. I think Sam Harris needs to do some lessons in communication. Yeah. I get like really
the way
sleepy.
He goes like, okay, a little bit of cleaning up now.
Yeah.
No, how does he open his housekeeping?
Housekeeping.
It's very flat.
Yeah, but he's such a serious guy though.
Yeah, but you can be serious.
But apparently, he can be also really funny.
Yeah, he does make jokes. And they're
he
pretty
makes
funny
loads of jokes. And when he makes the jokes, you can see that he opens up a little bit. Yeah. And it's cool. But he's always like very like serious. He's always talking about very serious things.
You know what really bugs me every time I want to talk about him to people? I'm like, well, he's a neurosurgeon. Like, it's not even believable, you know? Yeah. He's a smart guy. He's a neurosurgeon.
Yeah, seems too smart.
Yeah, it's too good to be true. You know, he's probably lying to you.
Yeah,
my
wife hates me every time I bring him up.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, does she not like Sam Harris?
But she doesn't listen to podcasts or anything. She's got, she's a mom. She has no time to do fuck busy. All. So she's working and everything.
You're helping out.
I'm dad. So dad takes care of mom and mom takes care of baby. That's how it works, you know?
That was a Patrice O'Neill thing. Like men get philosophical about bullshit. Like, would you fuck a bitch without a nose? I don't know. What's she look like? Yeah, she's fine. Can I cover her nose? No. You gotta look her straight in the nose
in the hole.
Yeah, fuck a bitch without a nose. That's says that like about to a woman is like, why you got a nose? Like, you can't live without a nose. How you gonna breathe? Like, and that's pretty much, like Patrice O'Neill.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, like he's amazing. He was amazing.
But yeah, so like I spend like hours watching this kind of stuff, and every time I'm like washing dishes, again, and I get onto
you podcast while you're washing dishes.
Yeah, amazing. Of course.
See how far we've come. Like he did that tap thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like.
Yeah, what was that?
There was like the AirPod
thing. You're an AirPod guy?
Oh man, amazing.
I just became an AirPod guy.
Hasn't your battery died on you? You can't recycle it. It's how long have you had your AirPods?
A month.
Yeah.
But I'm using the shit out of them.
Yeah. You'll have to throw them away in a bit.
Huh? I thought those were his. I thought he was an AirPod guy.
No, it's a status symbol piece of shit thing. I hate it.
I'll let you try the AirPods Pro afterwards.
This French guy's really annoying. They're just ridiculously expensive for what they are.
But they work.
It's a piece.
All of a sudden, it's like it works.
It's 200 euros.
I was
170.
I was a skeptic.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure I would love it if I had.
And then I broke my.
So you don't have poor? Is that what you're saying?
Because I'm fucking poor.
Dude, bring us down, man.
Dude, come on, dude.
So boring.
We're successful. We're buying this shit.
We want this stuff. No, everybody has them, loves them. So I guess they're pretty
crazy.
No, they just. As what's his name? Jobs would say, they just work.
They just work.
Yeah. You stick them in. Obviously, as usual, not the best sound quality, not the best battery, not the best. It's fine.
Yeah. Keep them in all day long.
I had the the skull candy ones that, you know, they had a bit of a thing that goes around your neck and a little.
No,
they were cool. I enjoyed them. They broke. I was going to buy a new one because they broke because I was shooting arrows at a target and it was dangling out on the one side and
it shot off.
The string wrapped onto this thing and just ripped it off my head.
And ripped it off your ear.
It was pain everywhere. It pulled it off and it went slapping against my forearm and it was just like blue and green and purple and whatever color on the forearm.
So then you're like, no more cables in my life.
I was like, yeah, absolutely. Fuck cables. It's painful. And I was going to buy them again because they were cool.
Well, the big ones?
No, the little ones. They're just like little running ones because I got them when I was thinking of. I thought I was
got all excited about the gear. Got the new shoes. Got the shorts.
Yeah.
Under Armour, Nikes.
Dude, I run sometimes. That's how I run.
That's good.
When I feel like it, I go. But then I'm always like, oh, I should run more often. So
you don't get those endorphins going through.
No, I get it. Like right at the end.
One.
Yeah, but
you get one.
And endorphin.
You just said the magic word though, endorphins. Where do you get your endorphins from? Skateboarding? You still do that?
I get it from life, man.
Oh man, high in life.
No, I don't think I've ever I don't know how to tell the difference if I have them or not.
If you don't, I guess
tried like working out and
like you would know.
Don't you get that like lightheaded feeling when you like land the right trick on a skateboard?
No, I get flow. When I get flow, I'm like, and I don't think those
that's
are.
It. That's flow.
That's not endorphins. The endorphins is when you get like, it's a physical thing that gets into.
How would you know if you don't know?
Because everything I've known about endorphins is when you get to a certain point, like you can't get endorphins from like one trick.
No, yeah.
Okay,
it
you
comes
get it through
over
physical
time.
Exercise. You break through a certain
amount of barriers.
Yeah, a barrier of weakness, and you're like, okay, now I can just go on and go on and go on. I've never had that. I've always gotten to the point, and like breaking point is like always like wide. I'm like,
no, and then skateboard is not like this like continuous intense exercise.
Unless you get into flow.
I had to go.
Unless if
you get into flow. You just keep on going.
Oh, okay.
You just keep on going, and like everything is easy.
What time span are we talking about, though?
It can happen as soon as you step on it. And it can happen for like, I don't know, at the end of the day when you're fuck tired and you're like, hey, let me try one more thing.
I've actually never heard about this flow thing.
Flow is archery.
But it's like your Tao or your Zen or whatever. Okay.
For some reason, like that, in that moment, everything works. You feel light. You have control.
That's endorphins, I think.
I don't think it's endorphins, man. Endorphins is when you break through and you get like, your body is saying, okay,
now you feel great.
Are we in this situation?
Yeah,
okay,
let's just keep doing this.
Yeah, but
this hits me when I'm in recently around 13 kilometers running. So that's a full hour already.
You're doing like a lot of running.
Yeah. So this is funny because I'm a big runner. I run like maybe 70 to 80 kilometers a week. So I'm just like out there every day going, and I need it. If I don't do it, I feel like shit. And I hurt myself because I got a coach who's pushing me a bit too much, doesn't really know me, gave me all these crazy exercises, and I was all like, I'm gonna fucking do this. And I hurt myself, and I haven't been running for a month, and I'm going
crazy
bananas, going crazy. I've been buying myself plane tickets to everywhere. I'm like sleeping around. It's just terrible.
You have the energy built up, and you have to like release
and I'm
right?
like emotionally unstable, and I do all these bad decisions, and it's really bad for me. And that the endorphins hit after about an hour, and you feel it. You're like, okay, now I feel really good. And I can keep going another hour.
I get it for like series of things, like sometimes, but it doesn't take me that long. Like I can get into that. Like I can sort of force it into that one point, and then it's just like, okay, now we're doing it. Like on a snowboard, maybe on the top of a mountain, and it's like you're looking at down the slope, and it's like, okay, I'm going to do this.
But don't you think that's adrenaline though? Like once you building it up?
Because there's a difference. The adrenaline is that like, wow, oh my God, this is amazing. It's an explosion. The endorphins are more like a swelling, no? It's just heat.
It's a heat, and then there's heat coming. I think that makes sense.
You're psyched up and you're just looking at your target, and it's like, okay, whoa, and that's a sketchy section over there. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and I'm not a great snowboarder. I'm not doing.
But I've seen that you go around. I've seen a video of you doing a really bad front somersault.
Everyone's seen that.
That's my claim to
It was a
fame.
beautiful slow motion fail.
And it was like that, woo! At the end of it.
But I enjoy bailing, so it's okay.
But that's part of it, like learning how to fall. Like that's one of the cool things about skating.
Yeah.
I mean, you just like
Learning how to fall.
you fall, and it's like when you see people falling in the street, you're like, why didn't you roll? Like that's the old lady fall down the stairs in the metro. I'm like, why didn't you like put your hands down? Like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like that's like normal.
Were you ever a skater as well? Because this is where I loved skateboarding like a religion. Like this is the coolest thing ever. But I was always terrible at it because I was afraid of hurting myself, and I never got good.
I've always been afraid of hurting myself, but I've loved it so much. That I mean, I've only had like, apart from some really bad sprained ankles and like a dislocated like elbow, I've had it last year, like a year ago.
Yeah, but exactly. It's like
that was the worst thing, and it's still bugging me. It kind of like blocked me.
Okay.
But I mean, I wanted to do the thing, and that was one of the cool things. Like when you get older, you think about it, like shit, I actually wanted to like jump down that stair set. I'm like, why did you do that?
That's a stupid decision.
But you want to do it because like it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and like when you think about it, it's like, why didn't I think about it so much and like just try it so much instead of just like focusing and doing it? Because like there was a moment when I was doing like skateboarding tours as well, and I'm not consistent at all. So I'm skating like
really
around,
good, really bad.
Yeah, I'm just like I have to go for it, and like I have to do repetition, and eventually I'll land something. And when you're on tour and all these like amazing skaters, and you have to like actually do something, and you get kind of like, okay, I had to like decide, okay, we're all going together to this one spot. I'm going to try this thing.
And you all have to watch me.
Yeah, you all have to watch me because like I have to do this. Otherwise I'm useless, and you're giving me shoes for free and I don't know why I'm getting them. And I would just like mess up. And then one moment you click, and you're like, okay, just do it. Just do it. And you do it. And it's like, fuck, it's not as cool as I wish it was.
Are you
like,
kind of disappointed once you do it?
Yeah, because it was actually pretty easy. I could have done it before. But I mean, it's weird.
But it really wasn't though.
But the best thing ever is when you get it like into that moment, you're like, okay, you're not even thinking about it. You just like, things happen. You almost like get into a trance, which is what happens when I edit like at 4 a.m. Just
editing video gets you in a trance?
Yeah.
You lucky motherfucker. I hate that stuff. I can edit pictures. I can edit pickers. I have more jokes, please. I can edit pictures for hours and hours. Editing video is a punishment.
Yeah, but I mean, that's your thing.
Because when you edit pictures, you can listen to music.
Yes, and podcasts. And watch movies.
Yeah.
If you get to as good as I am in editing video,
are you paying attention to other stuff?
It depends. If I'm doing editing on the beat, obviously you can't.
To the music.
Yeah, you can't. But I mean, if I'm just like messing up with, like a lot of the times I've gotten to a point where I know more or less the amount of frames that, okay, this song is about like 10 frames. You can change every 10 frames or something. So you just go. And it's like, I like this in, this out, which is something I'd have to learn. I had to break down from skateboarding, because the skateboarding is, you have the intro, you have the whole trick, and you have like the outro.
Yeah.
And when you get into commercial editing, it's like, okay, you just take the apex of the thing. And you cut when it's like at its most interesting. And then when you get into that mode, you're like, okay, I don't even need to listen to the music. You look at the waveform, you're like, okay, at that point it's going to be like a peak.
Wow, I thought he was a nerd, but
no, I'm way more nerd than him. Like,
it's amazing. He's I don't know how he does it. He just teaches himself shit and just does it. Like I get bored very, very quickly. I'm just like, that's it, finished.
Like have enough knowledge for now.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I get it. Like unless I get like psycho about something, and it's very rare that I do. I get to a point where I'm like, I know enough about this. I've figured out the trick. I'll never be. I'm not interested enough to become amazing at it. It's like, okay, cool. I can pack that away.
I got
the idea.
I got it.
It's like that with most conversations as well. It's like I know what you're talking about. Okay, let's just go to the next.
Yeah, but I don't get amazing at anything. That's the thing. I mean, but I just like getting to a point where
you're
I like
good at lots of things.
Good enough that it's your job.
Yeah, well, I don't know. My job has been a mix of good luck and just listening, pretty much, and then some skill
and showing up.
Showing up late every day.
I really do believe in this whole showing up. Like 80% of getting there is just showing up, which just makes so much sense. Just being there. And the same way, like when you're on set, I've been in these situations recently where there's a whole big team and you're supposed to make these pictures, and just the fact of being there and like somebody's going to put a camera in your hand and you're like, well, I'm going to start clicking away. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Yeah. And it's just the fact of, you're doing it, and that makes you that person who's doing that thing. But
also, like, don't you, I mean, you shoot e-com. Unfortunately, everybody has to shoot e-com now.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like sitting there and it's like, and I'm like, hang on a second. I'm looking through a lens and I'm taking pictures. And so this is quite nice. This isn't that bad. It's like, I'm not taking amazing pictures.
But I'm taking pictures.
It's like, it's cool.
But I'm getting dumber by the minute.
Yeah.
I feel like at the end of the day, I have just lost probably a few IQ points just doing this. So during the day, you're like struggling
to recover stuff on the other side. It's also, I feel like I miss... Like that day is sort of archived away as a work day sort of thing.
It's okay, I did that for the money.
Like, and then in the evening, it's like I just like consume stuff.
But don't you need that kind of those moments where you're just like totally ignorant?
No,
you don't?
Absolutely not. Yeah, that's.
But aren't you like all about the balance and shit? Like if you have like a super high level.
Wait. I don't want to be ignorant because I'm taking pictures and
no. I mean, okay, ignorant was the wrong word, but I mean like totally zoned out.
Like,
but you're not zoned out. Not in that situation. You're too bored to be zoned out.
Yeah, you sort of
just like boredom.
Yeah. Because
it's not even like real. It's not like
it's too slow. It's too boring. You're the best thing you could do is like micro meditate with your eyes open.
Yeah,
just be like kind of
sort of.
It's not a flow thing at all. Nah, it's really boring.
Like games. I make life. Very regimental for the people who work with me. It's
Are you bossing people around?
No, I get to the point. It's like, okay, guys, we're gonna do a picture every 4 minutes.
Oh, I like that.
And I put the timer on.
That's great.
And it's like, okay, we got 4 minutes
to make those pants look good.
This picture's going to look good in 4 minutes.
Good job.
All the different things. And if we can do this, then it's Smarties for everybody. It's like, this is a game. It's like, obviously, if we're not going to do it, it's not going to happen.
But that's when you're the boss on set.
But even when I sort of just like muscle my way into it, and everybody's happy if you're doing more stuff.
Yeah, it's like,
So I'm like, this is the goal for today. There's going to be an alarm going off every 4 minutes. And if we get, it's like brownie points for everybody.
It's like Captain Dozer on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
And it's just like a thing,
The Dozer pad.
That's amazing.
I just make it a bit of a game.
This is where my shit personality comes out. I just disassociate completely from the job. I'm like, guys, my three favorite words are like, not my problem. I'm just going to shoot this
not
picture.
Not my circus, not my monkey.
Not my circus. Exactly. I don't give a shit.
But I get so bored otherwise, and then I hate waiting, and I hate people that just like faffing. And so if I put a little bit of pressure, then like everything all of a sudden just snaps together, and like people are a little bit more concentrated on what they're doing.
And people love you for it.
But they love me at the end of the day.
Not during the day.
I'm not that loved on set at the end of the like. Not really.
You could have finished it after loved.
No,
I'm not that loved.
I'm not that in general.
I tend to.
That's also why, I kind of I hated having employees. I had 5 interns at one point when I was working for Universal, and having other people's work as my responsibility stressed me out so much.
Really?
I hate it. Oh, as a photographer, you do that, but it's just one day, one project, and then you're on your own again. And I love that. It's great. And everybody's just kind of happy to be there doing their, you don't have to micromanage people. Managing people is terrible. Why do people want to manage people?
And you got to delegate as well. You got to learn how to let
all those
them
things.
Go. It's hard, man. I got to do that stuff now. It's
you have people working for you.
I have a couple of people under me, and I'm a very I've discovered that I'm a control freak.
You don't think that of yourself. You're like, oh wait, I'm a mean boss, and I don't want to.
Dude, I'm not mean. Like I let people. I'm a bit lenient, but I know. Like the mouse is right there, and your hand is in it, like on it, and I should be using that mouse right now to like be doing the thing that I'm trying to like explain to you with words.
It would go faster if I did it than explaining.
I'm like, why am I explaining? But then you have to like get into this whole thing, which is basically what happened to me. It was that people give me responsibility and they would let me do it. Like I had a boss, they wouldn't do that, and he would like take the mouse, and I'll just like, okay, whatever.
I'm out. Fuck this shit.
Like that was the exact like position. And then I met like my current boss. Yeah, exactly. Fuck it. I didn't have a phone, so I couldn't do this. But like my current boss was like totally the opposite. It's like, okay, you do that. And then that was the thing that made me grow. And then eventually have people under me, which is like this whole...
The fact that he got you to... You figure this out.
Yeah.
It's your problem.
And she was like, okay, I'm going to give you like the directive and general thing, but the responsibility is yours. I'm like, okay, shit, I got to get my shit together. And then like to do that to other people, you're like...
Give me the mouse.
Okay, don't do that. Like, remember how shitty that was when they did it to you? Okay, take it off and like let people make the mistakes and let them grow. And then... You have to like understand a little bit of the bigger picture and like micromanage much less, which is so hard like to do.
It's really hard because that means you have to trust these people.
Yeah, like trust. What's that? We don't like
That's
that.
a nasty word.
No.
Dude.
It's just consequences. You gotta give them consequences.
Which is what you do with like that 4-minute thing.
Yeah. It's
wait. So what happens if you don't get a picture every 4 minutes?
I just look at them and was very disappointed.
You do the father thing?
And then I bubble. Like I become like, it's not possible.
And then they all like start.
Come on, it's a pair of pants, guys. And I'm like, it's like very passive aggressive. Like just under my, and then my whole body position just changes. It's like today there was this the stylist at one point. I don't know what happened, but she wasn't communicating. You know, she wasn't saying what the problem was, right?
She was just struggling.
She was just like running from this computer screen to the set, to the computer screen to the set. And I was like, at one point I spoke to the heavens. It's like, if everybody would just speak, maybe this problem would be solved before.
We would have solved this a long time ago.
This problem is all about communication, guys. It's not about the pants. The problem here is communication. And she just looked at me like...
So what was the problem?
The problem was that she couldn't get an angle right in the fucking crease. So I was like, can we turn him to the left? Yes.
And
can I take a picture?
It was amazing.
So thank you, Lord. We have solved the eternal problem of the crease on the pants.
There's always a solution. Can we flip the photo? Yeah.
But if you just... People need to learn that they need to speak, and they need to speak with a grown-up voice. They speak like this.
Yeah, it's true. But this you're about my age, and the people on set were much younger than you.
Yeah, not much.
Not okay.
They're like 30 and I'm 39.
Yeah. So that they should be grown up enough to talk to you.
Or even
That's
like
fine.
27. You know, I'm not. I mean, I'm dressed like a 15-year-old, so it's like
you're relatable.
I'm like I should be here. It's like, come on, just like.
It's nice that you have a different shirt in this episode.
Do I? I know because it's the same as the other time.
No, it's actually different. I was actually being like complimentary.
I do. It's the just black
That's
t-shirts.
nice that you remember all the t-shirts he's been wearing.
Of course, I edited the shit like
He's a skateboarder. He knows every single sneaker and every single t-shirt.
I actually don't, but I have to edit the shit after we go home at night.
And it looks like it's always the same episode.
It's always the same fucking, like the hoax shirt. Like, and then you had the
on this fashion point, I think we can give it wrap it. Well done.
This episode is over.
I think we killed this on a fashion.
The humility is going to be like, take my place the next time.
Gautier, thanks so much, man.
Thanks for having me over. It's been very fun.
It's been very, very fun.
I am more or less drunk right now.
Oh, awesome. Fantastic.
Cheers.
Cool. We're going to play some arcade now.
Yeah.
There's more.
Yeah, we got Street
the
Fighter.
Bottle thing.
Street Fighter.
Everything.
Street Fighter. Bye.
We gotta go.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
Hey guys, we're not going anywhere without you, so please remember to like and share and comment on the episodes that you like the most, and just use your social media and spread the word.